Thanks for listening to me, Sean Hannity. Thanks for listening to me, Sean Hannity, on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
You've had an administration that's been in place for 6 years in which there hasn't been a major scandal. I think that says a lot about the ethical strictures.
We spend more time talking about what do you call it as opposed to what do you do about it. If Fox didn't talk about this, they'd have nothing else to talk about, it would seem to me. How do you kill ISIS at this point? Who's doing the killing?
First of all, this isn't just about killing them. It's about degrading and destroying their capabilities.
But we cannot win this war by killing them. We cannot kill our way out of this war.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution. This is how we Sean Hannity. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America.
It's one of those days it's going to take patience and discipline for me to get this all out, all that I've got in here. Let me tell you what is coming up in the course of the program. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who is come under fire for saying this.
You basically said, it's being construed as whether or not you're challenging the president's patriotism. You said this: when I hear the president speak, I don't believe that he expresses the love of America as much as he does criticism of America. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, I'm not questioning his patriotism. He's a patriot, I'm sure. What I'm saying is that in his rhetoric, I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents. And when it's not in the context of an overwhelming number of statements about the exceptionalism of America, it sounds like he's more of a critic than he is a supporter.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the mayor's going to join us in the course of the program today. He said, I know this is a horrible thing to say, but I don't believe the president loves America. Now, think about this. Now, just hold on, you crazy liberals out there. I know you're about to wet your pants. Relax. But, think about, this is the man that for 20 years worshipped in the church. Why do you think I harped on that so hard prior to the election? Because it's unimaginable. His excuse that, that's not the man I knew. I don't believe that. I thought that was a lie. So I thought that, he knew who the real Jeremiah Wright was. Jeremiah Wright was there underneath where nobody could see, praying privately with Obama. He was supposed to give the invocation the day that Obama announced he was running for president, but at the last minute, they thought politically it wasn't so wise a thing to do. I had an interview with Reverend Wright back in March of 2007. It wasn't until about a year later that GD America came out and America's chickens come home to roost. That was the Sunday after 9/11. So after the interview with me, Reverend Wright never showed up on TV again as we argued about liberation theology and the black value system. That's what inspired Obama. Remember, this is the same guy that told Nicholas Kristof the most beautiful sight when he went to a school in Jakarta was the call to Muslim prayer at sunset. And he said it with a first-rate accent, Nicholas Kristof reported in the New York Times. This is a guy that, praised the sermon that, blamed white folks' greed runs a world in need.
Is this world a world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year? Where white folks' greed runs a world in need? Apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere. That's the world on which hope sits.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it's too praiseworthy of America now, does it? Or the apology tour, or the entire apology tour. When does he talk about American exceptionalism? Well, it's the same as the Greeks. They think they're exceptional. And the Brits, they assume they think they're exceptional. Everyone thinks they're exceptional. You think about Reagan and, love this country. Exuded patriotism. Even Bill Clinton, had that passionate love of America. I'd even argue that Jimmy Carter had it. But I don't hear from him. What are you saying, Hannity? Why do you want to fundamentally transform something or somebody you love? Think about that. Now, if you fall in love with somebody, it might be things about somebody that you might want to help them improve in their life, but you don't want to fundamentally change them. Fundamentally means I don't like you the way you are. You got to change whole cloth. No, that's not how people love. It's not how it happens. Anyway, so Rudy goes on to say he doesn't love you. He doesn't love me. He was brought up in a way, wasn't brought up in a way that you were brought up. I was brought up. That's true. He was brought up by, remember, a typical white grandmother. He was brought up, went to a Muslim school in Jakarta. Now, I'm raising all of this because he keeps droning on about America mistreating Muslims. The president has no problem mentioning crimes in the name of Jesus Christ or talking about the Crusades or 800, 1,000 years ago. Joe Biden is the latest to come out and attack Christianity yesterday. And the president, he has a summit on extremism, but you can't mention radical Islam. Here's what he said yesterday.
First, we have to confront squarely and honestly the twisted ideologies that these terrorist groups use to incite people to violence. Leading up to this summit, there's been a fair amount of debate in the press and among pundits about the words we use to describe and frame this challenge. So I want to be very clear about how I see it. Al-Qaeda and ISIL and groups like it are desperate for legitimacy. They try to portray themselves as religious leaders, holy warriors in defense of Islam. That's why ISIL presumes to declare itself the Islamic State. And they propagate the notion that America, and the West generally, is at war with Islam. That's how they recruit. That's how they try to radicalize young people. We must never accept the premise that they put forward, because it is a lie. Nor should we grant these terrorists the religious legitimacy that they seek. They are not religious leaders, they're terrorists. And we are not at war with Islam. We are at war with people who have perverted Islam.
We're at war with radical Islamists. Now, the State Department had to come out today and said, no, Obama really does love America. Now, why do I think that his upbringing, Frank Marshall Davis, why do I think that Acorn, Alinsky, Reverend Wright, Father Flager, Bernardine Dorn, Bill Ayers, why did I think it was so important? So anyways, the president now in his speech at the conference, 3-day conference on violent extremism that won't mention radical Islam, he wants to continue this debate about his refusal to link the great threat of this century, Islamic terrorism, to Islam. I say, all right, let's keep the debate going. Let's get it on. I will tell you that there's something now pathological. There is some cognitive dissonance, psychological arrogance that this man has that it is inexplicable to me. He gives a long speech, says among other things, leading up to this, there's a fair debate in the press and pundits about words we use to describe it, et cetera, et cetera. Then the president said, well, that's why ISIS, it's not ISIL, ISIS presumes to declare itself the Islamic State, as you just heard. They propagate that notion in American, blah, 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 that it's a war with Islam. They're the recruit. Let me say a few things about what you just heard. You cannot, somebody get to the president. You cannot defeat an enemy that you do not admit exists. Or as Michael Flynn, a retired Army Lieutenant General, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency under President Obama, told a House hearing last week, I really, really strongly believe that the American public needs and wants moral, intellectual, and really strategic clarity and courage on this threat. This president is manifestly not providing clarity and courage. We're not going to win this fight against those that burn and behead and harvest organs now and sell women into slavery if we do not understand the nature of the fight and the nature of this enemy. Radical Islam has been at war with us since the Iranian hostage crisis. The 9/11 Commission report concluded we weren't at war with them, they were at war with us. And we keep ignoring and making the same mistake, and this president has doubled down on stupidity. You can't win this fight. And that's one of the reasons, that's one reason why people supported, and spoke out so strongly against the absolutely clueless State Department spokeswoman, Marie Harf. Well, the root cause of Islamic terrorism, we need a jobs program, job opportunities. Is that it? Is that really the way to root out Islamic terrorism, create a jobs program? A stack of studies done on this recently, by the way. And the bottom line is there's no correlation between poverty and Islamic extremism. The fact that the Obama administration keeps insisting that there is shows how detached. There is something psychologically wrong here. This is very, very deep that a president insists. He goes out there today and he's we can't say radical Islamists, but there's no problem condemning Christianity and the Crusades, which was, by the way, the Crusades were in response to Muslim armies conquering France and Italy and Spain and Constantinople. And guess what? Those Christians wanted their properties that were conquered back. Hence, you have the Crusades. So it is, people are now reacting. Now the president's just arrogant. He won't let up. Now he's giving us more nuance because we're too dumb to understand what his superior liberal Bill Ayers, Bernardine Dorn, Father Flager, Reverend Wright, Alinsky, Frank Marshall Davis mind tells us every day. We're too stupid. There is a transparent lie at the heart of what Obama is doing that bothers me and many of you. He's insisting that Islam has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism, which even Muslims around the world know is a joke. It was General el-Sisi in Egypt, the president, on New Year's Eve, who had the courage to say what President Obama, Reverend Wright's disciple, will not say. And that is, we need to revolutionize our religion. Yet Obama, by his own logic, is insisting that el-Sisi is wrong, since he believes that religion has nothing to do with this conflict, which means that the president is engaged in a massive, massive pathological state of denial and propaganda based on deception and self-deception. He refuses to call things by their rightful names. That's what Obama doesn't seem to understand. That this grants ISIS legitimacy is what he's arguing here. But what he's referring to as a radical strain with it, it's not, you've got to defeat them. It's staggering what's happening around the world. It is human evil. It's modern day. It's a death cult, radical Islamic death cult. It is modern day Nazism. And if you ever couple this, why won't he tell us what's in this agreement with Iran that he's negotiating? Benjamin Netanyahu gave his explanation in a speech why he's coming. Because the state of Israel's life depends on whatever agreement is made. If you let these radical mullahs that have threatened to blow Israel off the map, if they get their nuclear weapons, guess what? Their number one target is Israel. The very existence of the state of Israel is in peril. So Netanyahu, rightly so, will do whatever it takes to defend his country. Try and understand this. If ISIS keeps extending their reach and claiming new territory, which he has allowed them to do, in Iraq and Syria, happened on his watch. Oh, that's legitimacy that he's giving them. If we bomb ISIS back into the Stone Age, which, if you believe the State Department, we can't do that. We can't win by bombing them. Well, how did we ever win World War II? How did the Allied powers beat Nazism? How do we take out Japan? Imperial Japan. We could take back the territory that they have now stolen, confront them on every front, force them back into their caves into retreat, defeat them into being the weak horse that we believe they should be, and they'll lose legitimacy. And the idea that Obama thinks that he's pretending he's an Islamic scholar, and he can grant or deny ISIS legitimacy is absurd. Is anybody in the media going to ask if Obama saw the beheadings of 21 Coptic Christians? Has it ever dawned on Obama that pretending he's the great interpreter now of Islam has actually now thrust him right in the middle of a debate about the nature of Islam that he says is so harmful? Obama insists ISIS perverting Islam. The followers of ISIS respond that they're at war with apostate Muslims who deserve to die. So Obama's like trying to be the theologian in chief. Well, now he's thrust himself in the midst of this debate about the true nature of Islam when we ought to be defeating the enemy, which is radical Islamists. It's unbelievable. These are really troubling times. I mean, really troubling. It's getting worse by the day. By the way, Rudy Giuliani's going to be here today. We'll get his take on it. Then we're going to have two Islamic experts, including a guy that spent time in jail in Iran because he committed the awful crime of converting from Islam to Christianity. And we're also going to talk with an American Christian, Jordan Mattson, who's fighting with the Kurds in Syria against ISIS. He's on the ground. He's going to join us today. All right, so we got a lot of ground to cover. Listen up. If you're a small business owner, you're going to want to hear this. Right now, Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 business cards. Get this for only $9.99. Everybody in this audience should get it. Just enter the promo code Hannity when you check out. That's $9.99, 500 business cards, Vistaprint.com. They make it simple to create a card that's right for you. They have tons of industry-specific designs. You add your own info, and you're on your way. Now, their cards are great quality, simple to design, more affordable than ever. We have them here at the Sean Hannity Show, and they're absolutely the best you're ever going to get from anybody, anywhere, and you can't get this price anywhere. For a higher quality card, if you want, consider upgrading to the signature stock or adding a brilliant finish like metallic or spot gloss or raised print. With many customization options, you can create the card that's right for you. And even if you're not in the market for business cards right now for $9.99 for 500, why not? They have tons of products at Vistaprint for your home, office, marketing materials, custom flyers, postcards, banners. They got it all. All their products guaranteed. And if you're not happy, Vistaprint.com makes it right. 500 business cards, $9.99, and there's never going to be a better time to promote your business. Go to Vistaprint.com, promo code Hannity, Vistaprint.com.
The newsmakers you won't hear anywhere else. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Mandy Connell, tomorrow morning at 5 on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today at 800-QUICKEN. You'll learn how the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed law 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Hall of Fame driver Richard Petty for Blue Emu.
Maintenance is important. To help me keep feeling my best, I use odor-free Blue Emu made with real emu oil. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray has an active ingredient to relieve the aches and pains of my muscles and joints, and it's perfect for hard-to-reach places. Hey, even us precision machines need a little help sometimes. Use what I use, Blue Emu. It works fast, and you won't stink.
Blue Emu, available at Walmart, Walgreens, Rite Aid, and other fine stores.
You're running your business, and we at Wix.com know things can get stressful. But creating your website doesn't have to be. With Wix, you can create a professional website all by yourself. It's easy and free. You don't have to be a programmer. Just drag and drop everything into place. It's your website, your style. Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Hey, you got a cold garage at your house?
Don't let the cool weather fool you. If you need your carpets cleaned, there's no need to wait until summer. Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company can come out now to get your carpets cleaned and take advantage of their winter special. 3 rooms, pre-treated, cleaned, and sanitized for just $109 if you book by the end of February. Zero Res cleans with empowered water. No soaps, detergents, or harsh toxic chemicals. Get that winter grime out of your house by calling 303-471-5150 or online ZeroResDenver.com. The right way to clean.
This is John Hogan with PC Answers. Tom Martino's Troubleshooter Network calls us when they have computer problems. So if you have computer problems, you should call us too.
Call PC Answers today at 303-548-1414.
Hi, I'm Linda Gardner, host of Your Money, Your Retirement. Planning for retirement can be a real challenge. Will your money last? How should you invest? When should you start Social Security? I'll cover all this and more at the upcoming Baby Boomer Retirement Course. 2 workshops right in the Tech Center beginning March 4th. Register at richnessoflife.org/Regis. That's richnessoflife.org/REGIS or call 855-703-7654.
President Obama's blind eye. I'm Todd Stearns with this Fox News and commentary next.
The smarter way to manage business expenses, presented by Concur.
After my conference, I checked out of the hotel and the bill was automatically added to my expense report. Then I hopped into a taxi. I snapped a photo of the receipt using Concur, and bam, there it was on my expense report. Then I used my corporate card to buy the client's lunch. Another charge added to my expense report.
Expense reports that write themselves. Just one of the many ways Concur helps manage your company's spend so you can focus on the big picture. Take a free test drive today at tryconcur.com.
So here's the headline from President Obama's Summit on Violent Extremism. Religion doesn't kill people. People kill people. And the only reason the jihadists are blowing up stuff is because they don't have a good 401k plan. Folks, that summit was a great big joke, and non-Muslims were the punchline. It's pretty clear to me the Obama administration seems to think Christians and Jews are the radical extremists. Not once did he mention the words Islamic extremist. Vice President Biden reportedly spoke about violent extremism carried out in the name of the Bible. Secretary of State John Kerry wrote a Wall Street Journal op-ed denouncing Islamophobia. Just more evidence this administration seems blinded by its animosity towards Christianity. Here's the bottom line, folks. We need a president who will defend America, not Islam. I'm Todd Stearns.
Hearing a solution to someone else's problem might prevent it from happening to you. The Troubleshooter. Mornings at 10. Talk Radio 630. KHOW. Might prevent it from happening to you. The Troubleshooter. Mornings at 10. Talk Radio 630. KHOW.
It's all beginning to come together, isn't it? You know, it's taken a long time. I've taken a lot of hits and a lot of heat, and a lot of criticism, a lot of verbal attacks, unbridled assaults by the media, colleagues, even some conservatives, for piecing together a guy whose background is, you know, praising prayer at sunset, the most beautiful sight, and Frank Marshall Davis, Alinsky, Acorn, Reverend Wright, Father Flager, Bill Ayers, Bernadine Dorn, and now this strange pathological cognitive dissonance, and it's bizarre. It is worse than I even thought.
For the most part, the highway drive in the metro area in good shape. A little bit of slowing northbound I-25 approaching 6th Avenue. Off highway, there's a crash at 35th and Colorado. Police are on the scene. Watch out for another wreck off highway in the cleanup stages at Spear and Stout. Up in the Loveland area, a serious crash has shut down Highway 34, a.k.a. Eisenhower, in both directions at Centaura. Police are on the scene. That road will be shut down for several hours. Alternate routes, if you got to travel on that highway, is go northbound on County Road 3 over to Crossroads. The weather forecast: sunny and warmer today with a high of 63. Tonight, mainly clear and a low of 30. Right now, partly sunny in the Mile High City and 58. I'm Pete Wagner.
Attention men, an important message from New Male Medical. Do you have a resolution to lose weight and be more fit? Did you know low testosterone has many non-sexual symptoms? Increased body fat, decreased energy, reduced muscle mass, and depression. Roughly 40% of men with high blood pressure and 40% of men with high cholesterol have low testosterone. On top of that, there are dreaded sexual symptoms. Sometimes you need to solve a problem you didn't know you had before you're able to achieve the fitness and weight loss you seek. New Male Medical is a local medical practice right here in Greenwood Village and experts in men's sexual health. They treat the whole you, not by prescribing a little blue pill, but by finding the root cause of your issue and finding a solution. Call New Male Medical Center at 303-622-5251 today to schedule your no-obligation appointment. Join the thousands of patients no longer aging prematurely because they had the courage to call. 303-622-5251, 622-5251. New Male Medical, NUMALE.com. New Male, the experts in men's sexual health.
You know, one of the best things about being associated with Rockies is helping them out with their community service. Rockies is all about community service, sponsoring family events, charities, and food giveaways for the holidays. Rockies Autos is about way more than selling cars. They hire regular folks and train them, no high-pressure tactics. They're all about providing the best value, so you'll tell your friends and family. And they want you to come back, too, for your next car. And at Rockies, you always know you're getting the best prices because they don't depend on banks to stock their lots. They buy all of their cars with cash at great volume and incredible deals, and those deals are passed on to you. Drop by 63rd and Federal and see for yourself. Rocky's Autos, open 9 to 9 Monday through Saturday, with more than 40 lenders to choose from, so they have flexible payment options. Rocky's Autos. There's a reason they've been around so long. There's a reason I endorse them. They're for real. 303-426-4646. 426-4646.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino. Been hurt in a car accident caused by someone else's reckless driving? Call John Fuller with Fuller Law. The more time that passes, the more likely you are to lose your rights. John Fuller is someone I know and trust. John will meet with you personally to make sure you're getting the right medical care and fair compensation for your injuries. 303-597-4500. That's 303-597-4500. Or online at personalinjuryco.com.
Michael Brown for Superior Industries. Superior Industries specializes in custom-made triple-pane windows and the thickest insulated permanent siding for your house, and they've been doing it for the past 34 years. Superior Industries windows have the highest energy ratings available. You can use the energy savings from these windows every month to pay for them. Call Mike with Superior Industries today at 303-838-8116 and replace those home builder windows and siding with ones that are going to last forever. That's 303-838-8116. Michael Brown here. Could you imagine seeing a doctor with a success rate of over 90%? Associates of Otolaryngology is the first step towards optimal ear, nose, and throat care. This practice has been around for more than 40 years, and all of your needs from initial consultation to diagnosis to treatment can be handled either in Denver or the Park Meadows facilities. They got a great staff, and from start to finish, you'll receive premium health care services. So give Associates of Otolaryngology a call now, 303-744-1961. That's 303-744-1961.
Fire up your TV on. Time for the Weekend TV.
Thursday night, it's the premiere of a reboot of the classic sitcom The Odd Couple, starring Matthew Perry and Thomas Lennon. Then, after a huge 12-year run, it's the 1-hour series finale of 2.5 Men. The fun kicks off Thursday at 8:30, 7:30 Central on CBS after a new Big Bang Theory. Sunday is Hollywood's biggest night of the year, the 87th Annual Academy Awards, hosted by Neil Patrick Harris. Find out which of your favorite movies pick up the gold Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC. On Monday, The Voice starts cycle number 7, followed by the second season premiere of The Night Shift, beginning at 8/7 Central on NBC. And that's your Weekend TV on iHeartRadio.
With conversation that connects us. Talk Radio 630 KHOW is Denver's talk station. Radio 630 KHOW.
Sean Hannity. Check him out on Twitter. You can find him under @Sean Hannity.
It's not just Rudy saying this, by the way. Looks like Rudy is, he's now questioning the president, whether he sees America as exceptional. We now have Rear Admiral James Ace Lyons. Washington Examiner reports retired four-star admiral commanded the U.S. Pacific Fleet during several Middle Eastern flare-ups is saying that the president's strategy in the area is anti-American and instead pro-Islamic. Rear Admiral James Ace Lyons, also former Deputy Chief of Naval Operations, said the administration's approach to the multiple confrontations with Muslim-based enemies follows a string of White House failures to strike Islamic terrorists. Quote, the Obama administration has a strategy, and it's very simple. Any thinking American should be able to grasp it. It's anti-American, anti-Western, pro-Islamic, pro-Iranian, pro-Muslim Brotherhood. Well, he did give the Muslim Brotherhood, when they were in charge in Egypt, $1 billion, $1.5 billion, and F-16s and tanks. Anyway, he said this last week at a conference hosted by the Conservative Center for Security Policy, where he heads the military committee. Lyons is in the Navy for 36 years. Said the nation has to come to grips with Islam and as something other than a religion until you recognize, he said, that Islam is the political movement masquerading as a religion. You're never going to come to grips with this, he said. That conference was entitled Defeat Jihad Summit. Very different than the Summit on Extremism, where you couldn't mention radical Islam. That was Obama's summit. We now have a landslide majority of Americans are willing to send ground troops to fight ISIS. CBS News is reporting. Amid more executions by the militant group ISIS, Americans increasingly see the group as a threat to the U.S. By the way, Italy is so scared to death, they're now moving their forces in place for fear of a possible ISIS invasion. 65%, according to CBS, of Americans view ISIS as a major threat. 18% view it as a minor threat. Majorities of Republicans, 86%, even Democrats, 61%, independents, 57%, view ISIS as a major threat. And with concern about ISIS growing, support for the use of U.S. ground troops in the fight against ISIS has risen. For the first time, a majority of Americans, 57%, favor the U.S. sending ground troops into Iraq and Syria to fight ISIS. Looks like George Bush was right in 2007. Looks like Obama's been wrong from day one. And he's wrong today. And he's in denial today. It is a pathological, there's something very, very deeply rooted in this man that refuses to recognize this enemy for who they are. Support for sending ground troops has risen among all partisans, but particularly among Democrats and independents. Interesting poll. There was a give and take on this summit that took place this week. And the public list does not include all the attendees. And I told you about this one guy that suggested that this imam that suggested that Israel could be culpable for what happened on 9/11 in the Twin Towers. They shouldn't be taken off the list. Remember I told you about him? Anyway, so the White House Office of Faith-Based Neighboring Partnerships assisted in the planning of a breakout for the summit that's supposed to focus on building understanding and cooperation across faiths. Anyway, there does appear to be one member of the Christian clergy in the Vice President Biden distribution list, Jeffrey Brown. And Josh was asked in the briefing about this, about the makeup of the participants, if they say terrorism is broader than just Islamic, but most groups are with the Muslim community. Anyway, apparently there's a story that's going on that some of the more radical elements that were representing Islam at the summit, pushed Joe Biden to make his Christian comments. Again, they'll mention Christianity, but we can't mention Islam. Anyway, the summit on violent extremism that won't mention radical Islam. Question to Josh Earnest. Next door, and the vice president yesterday have gone to great lengths to say that it's not a summit about Islamic extremism. They say it's broader than that. But if you look at the groups that are participating, Most of the community groups are related in one way or another to the Muslim community. How do you square the message with the participants? Josh Ernest says, well, I think I would say that we're very mindful of the fact that a particularly virulent strain of extremist ideology has tried to insert itself in the Muslim community. No, they've actually more than inserted themselves. No question about that. That's true of the U.S. That's true in other places around the world, et cetera, et cetera. At the same time, we also recognize that there are other forms of extremism that have promoted others to carry out acts of violence even on American soil. Talked about a couple of previous occasions in which violent extremists carried out an attack in a Sikh temple in Wisconsin. A radical ideology that prompted someone to go and open fire outside a Jewish community center in Kansas. Extremism has taken a variety of forms. They just don't want to deal with the reality of what the greatest threat is today. They don't want to deal with it. You know, Obama's still droning on about mistreating of Muslims. You know, in some countries, including the United States, Muslim communities are still small and relative to the entire population. As a result, many people in our countries don't always know personally somebody who's Muslim.
I'd like to close by speaking very directly to a painful truth that's part of the challenge that brings us here today. In some of our countries, including the United States, Muslim communities are still small and relative to the entire population. And as a result, many people in our countries don't always know personally somebody who is Muslim. So the image they get of ignorant Muslims or Islam is in the news. And given the existing news cycle, that can give a very distorted impression. A lot of the bad, like terrorists who claim to speak for Islam, that's absorbed by the general population. Not enough of the good. The more than 1 billion people around the world who do represent Islam and are doctors and lawyers and teachers and neighbors and friends. So we have to remember these Muslim men and women.
I remember what happened at the kosher supermarket was just random. There were no Jewish deaths there, the State Department said. We need a jobs program for terrorists. That's what we need to solve this problem. Jobs program. We don't have jobs in America, but we can have a jobs program for radical Islamists. That's what this is now painful to me. There's something radically, and I use that word liberally, wrong. Radically wrong with this president's mindset. I don't know what this is, but he is just doubling down on stupid. Obama Pentagon won't say if it supports Egyptian airstrikes. Now, there have been reports in recent days that both the Egyptians and Jordanians have asked for intelligence help so they can strike ISIS targets. Apparently, that help has been withheld by Obama. We didn't give them the support that they've been asking for. In other words, you know who said this? Charles Barkley. God bless Charles Barkley. I wish the president would act. We actually have the tape. I wish the president would act. You don't have the tape? I wish the president would act like King Abdullah. Like, yeah, me too. I wish the president would act like King Abdullah. Because ever since they burned one Jordanian pilot, the Jordanians have unleashed holy hell on ISIS. And you know what? So now have the Egyptians since the killing of 21, the beheading of 21 Christians. Reverend Franklin Graham said, ignoring these are Islamic extremists bent on destroying the West, he is giving a pass to Islam. Reverend Graham's right. Rudy Giuliani's right. So's this Rear Admiral's right. Obama's, splitting hairs, parsing. He's making Clinton look like a linguistics expert in terms of his ability to parse. Eric Holder, this is not a time of war. New York Post today, I think, had the best cover ever. They had a picture of Obama, blindfolded. Islamic terror, ? I just don't see it. It was a perfect cover. Got to give them credit. Then the headline is Obama dances around reality as ISIS plays the tune. His argument, this is what actually is going on. They show a picture of those just before they were beheaded, the 21 Christians and the Jordanian pilot being burned to death. Somebody needs to ask if he's seen these things. Has the president seen these videos? And this is all he has to say about it. No religion's responsible for terror. People are responsible for terror in the name of Islam. Bibi Netanyahu has to justify why he's speaking to Congress. This is sad. He says, why am I going to Washington? Because as the Prime Minister of Israel, it's my obligation to do everything in my power to prevent the conclusion of a bad deal that could threaten the survival of the state of Israel. Maybe he'll lose his election because of it. I hope and pray not. He's the only adult on the world stage that gets radical Islam. He says the current proposal to Iran will endanger Israel. If it was such a good deal for America, why are they keeping it hidden? Why won't they show us? The Prime Minister goes on, it would enable Iran to build its first nuclear device within an unacceptably short time. It would allow Iran to build an industrial capability to enrich uranium that could provide the fuel for many bombs in the years coming. A regime that openly calls for Israel's destruction would thus have finally the means to realize its genocidal aims. Said, I'm not opposed to any deal with Iran. I'm opposed to a bad deal with Iran, and this is a bad deal. This is a very dangerous time for the world. Fox's Ed Henry is going to join us on TV tonight. Why did the White House invoke religion for Chapel Hill? Remember the incident? 3 Muslims shot? Turned out to be a parking dispute. But not for the ISIS beheadings. I have another question I'd add to that. Why did the president say in the name of Jesus Christ, but he's never said in the name of Muhammad or in the name of Allah? Allahu Akbar. God is great. Why did the president have a summit for 3 days on extremism? And why did the president not allow a discussion on Islamic terrorism? Why did the president lie about Benghazi, therefore? There's a YouTube video. We condemn it. We condemn a YouTube video.
You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character. Who is an extremely offensive video directed at
we get the point. And the Cambridge police acted stupidly, and Trayvon would look like my son, and then the Michael Brown case. So they have this, then you have Marie Hoff, we need a jobs program. Joe Biden, Muslim immigration is not going to stop in America. Now we're talking about taking in Syrian refugees in America. Syrian refugees. How are we going to tell if they're terrorists? So we have ISIS supporters swarming over Syrian prisoners, kicking them to death before their corpses are dragged through the streets. That's what's going on in Syria right now, under the Islamic State, which is not Islamic. Just quoting the president and all of this, just giving you the truth, giving you the reality. Charles Barkley, this is what he said. I wish Obama was like Jordan's King Abdullah. Jordan's King Abdullah in battling ISIS. State Department insists Obama loves America, responding to Rudy Giuliani, who's going to join us in the next hour. ISIS, we find out, may be harvesting organs, and I read to you the price of women being sold into slavery. The younger, between 1 and 9, that's the cheapest price. If you want a girl between 40 and 50, it's a lot cheaper. Want a girl 30 and 40, you're going to pay more than 40 and 50. Want a young girl between 10 and 20? That's going to be expensive, relatively speaking. U.S. holding details of Iran talks. The details are being withheld from our number one ally in the region, Israel. A top Iranian nuke negotiator has been ordered to stop screaming at John Kerry. Wow. And now, by the way, here's an interesting New York Post article. Why are jihadis so obsessed with porn? They found so much porn on bin Laden's thing. The history of Muhammad, we'll get into this later with our Islamic experts, including Daniel Akbari, who was imprisoned and tortured in Iran for daring to convert to Christianity. What was the age of Muhammad's wives? We'll ask him that. We'll get into that question today. Also, what are the specific verses in the Quran that call for jihad and holy war? And what does the Quran say about Christians and Jews? We'll go through all this today. Anyway, you ever go to a CVS or a store and you need a razor? You gotta go find somebody to open up the locked cage You can't get it because it's in a counter. It's absolutely infuriating to me. What am I going to do? I'm not going to steal a razor. Just let me pick up my razor, go. You know what? I don't have that problem anymore because me and everybody on this team here, Jason and Lauren and Linda, Michaela, even me and my wife now, we're proud members of the Dollar Shave Club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors, the best blade I've ever used, and grooming supplies right to your door. They have plans that start at just $3. Compare that to what you're paying now. Now, I use their top-of-the-line blade. I like the Executive, engineered with 6 stainless steel blades, a trimmer blade, and aloe vera lubricating strip. Now, the club couldn't be simpler. Here's how it works. They send you a handle for free. Every month you get replacement blades, a new blade for every week. You can get deliveries every month or every other month. One less thing to worry about. It's the best razor I've ever used. My staff swears by it. And all you got to do is go to DollarShaveClub.com. That's right. You want to cancel anytime. You want to up your order. I also get their shaved butter. You'll never use shaving cream again once you try the shaved butter. Listen, join me and everybody at the Sean Hannity Show. Join the DollarShaveClub.com. I promise you're going to love it. DollarShaveClub, one word, .com. That's the DollarShaveClub.com. All right, Rudy Giuliani and Jamie Dupree next.
Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
The smarter way to manage business expenses, presented by Concur.
After my conference, I checked out of the hotel and the bill was automatically added to my expense report. Then I hopped into a taxi. I snapped a photo of the receipt using Concur, and bam, there it was on my expense report. Then I used my corporate card to buy the client's lunch. Another charge added to my expense report.
Expense reports that write themselves. Just one of the many ways Concur helps manage your company's spend so you can focus on the big picture. Take a free test drive today at tryconcur.com.
Is it time to own your own business? Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care, is ranked in the top 10 franchises in America. Visiting Angels franchises are affordable and send experienced caregivers to provide non-medical assistance to adults so they can avoid moving to a nursing home. You'll receive the best training and unsurpassed ongoing guidance. Thousands of home care client leads are distributed to franchisees. For information on available territories, go to visitingangelsfranchises.com. That's visitingangelsfranchises.com.
Hey, you got a cold
Hey,
garage?
everybody, it's owner Al Aramis from Pro Auto Care. Thousands of repair shops throughout the Denver metro area. Many choices. Why choose Pro Auto Care? Because we're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, winner of Top Repair Shop 2011-2012 with Denver A-List, and ASC Blue Seal of Excellence Shop. 23 service bays between 2 locations in Denver and in Littleton. Come experience what thousands have experienced before. Call us at 303-PRO-AUTO or online at 303proauto.com.
Do you want to lose 20 to 45 pounds in 40 days? No exercise, cravings, hunger, drugs, or hormones? This brand new technology is guaranteed. Most weight loss professionals tell you not to step on the scale. Trust us. Well, Dr. Cadwell says,
I want you to get on the scale every day. I want you to see just how this revolutionary technology is working for you. Here's what I say to new patients. How would you like to look in the mirror just 40 short days from now and see the person looking back is 20 to 45 pounds lighter?
This technology raises your metabolism, targets your belly, butt, hips, and thighs, and it's doctor supervised.
I've seen people lose 45 or more pounds in just 40 days. If you're diabetic, you need this. If you have low energy, you really need this. I'm Dr. Cadwell. Take a look at my free video. You're going to learn so much. Go to 411getthin.com and click on the free video. That's 411getthin.com.
After watching the video, call Dr. Cadwell at 844-411-THIN. 844-411-THIN.
We've got the 411 on getting you thin.
Are you one of the unfortunate homeowners who did home improvements without visiting the giant buy and build warehouse? Oh, I'm sorry. If you had gone to buy and build at 4800 Washington Street in Denver, you would have saved a ton on cabinets, countertops, flooring of all kinds, tubs, sinks, toilets, spas, lighting, and more. I personally found beautiful cabinets almost 10 times cheaper than anywhere else. Buy and build, 4800 Washington Street, 303-295-6022, or buyandbuild.net.
If you're in desperate need of carpet cleaning, why wait? Do it now. Beat that summer rush with Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company and save some money. Remove all those winter spots and stains with empowered water technology. No soaps detergents or harsh toxic chemicals with Zero Res. And right now, book before the end of February and get 3 rooms pre-treated, cleaned, and sanitized with empowered water for just $109. It's a great price. Call Zero Res at 303-471-5150 or online ZeroResDenver.com.
Michael Brown here, and I want to talk to you about Neuro Colorado. Neuro Colorado does neurofeedback. So if you suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, anger issues, ADHD, or have had a traumatic brain injury, you need to call Sean at Neuro Colorado. Not only is Sean a licensed counselor, he also uses neurofeedback to help his patients. Neurofeedback simply retrains your brain waves to work at optimum condition. It's non-invasive. There are no drugs to take. Call Sean today at 720-232-0834 or go to neurocolorado.com.
DUI cases are complicated, involving both criminal and civil proceedings. They're separate proceedings, and each one of them important. If your first mistake was drinking and driving, don't make a second mistake. Get help. Joseph A. Lazzara, attorney at law. For DUI and other criminal defense, Joseph A. Lazzara, 303-429-6200. Joseph A. Lazzara, 303-429-6200. Or on my referral list at referralist.com.
It's now proven, 2014 was the warmest year on record.
Mandy Connell.
Why in the world would I be willing to jump on the bandwagon that it's our fault right now?
So you're telling me the planet is not warming because of us humans and the carbon?
I'm saying we don't know, Jim. I'm saying we don't know. Oh, God, he doesn't stop talking. You know, I welcome people who disagree with me.
Mandy Connell.
But you got to shut your pie hole for 5 seconds and let me talk.
Mornings at 5.
It's called a conversation.
On Talk Radio 630, KHOW. Mandy Connell, mornings at 5. Michael Brown, afternoons at 4. Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
All right, shovel-ready jobs for the terrorists. Yeah, shovels to bury the infidels they killed. Rudy Giuliani and Jamie Dupree next.
Invest in America's oil boom with Black Gold Resources. Oil is the world's most prized natural resource, and even though lower oil and gasoline prices are in the news, the savviest investors continue to grow their portfolios with steady monthly income and powerful tax advantages. The last time that oil prices collapsed, they quickly recovered from $38 per barrel to well over $100 per barrel in less than 2 years. Now is the time to profit from opportunities in American oil. Even with today's lower oil prices, our projects are specifically designed to deliver consistent 20 to 30% returns, plus they are IRA approved. If you are a qualified investor looking for steady monthly income that could last for decades with returns of up to 30% or more and have at least $40,000 to start, call us now at 800-OIL-5509. That's 800-OIL-5509. Learn how Black Gold can power your portfolio. Call 800-645-5509. 800-645-5509.
Your home for Sean Hannity is also the home for Glenn Beck. Tonight at 7 on Denver's talk station. Talk Radio 630 KHOW. Online at KHOW.com.
Michael Brown for Superior Industries. Superior Industries specializes in custom-made triple-pane windows and the thickest insulated permanent siding for your house, and they've been doing it for the past 34 years. Superior Industries windows have the highest energy ratings available. You can use the energy savings from these windows every month to pay for them. Call Mike with Superior Industries today at 303-838-8116 and replace those home builder windows and siding with ones that are going to last forever. That's 303-838-8116.
My name is Dr. Drago. I am a practicing surgeon. I do complicated sinus surgery along with other ear, nose, and throat surgery. I have Dr. Grossman to thank for my great health at age 80. My friends, my family, and my patients look at me and they can't believe that I am 80 years of age, working full-time. As a matter of fact, my tennis game is improving.
Call Grossman Wellness Centers at 303-233-4247 or visit GrossmanWellness.com.
From the RentersWarehouse.com studios, this is Denver's talk station. The only place for Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. Talk Radio 630 KHOW. KHOW, Denver.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Frozen pipes and snowblowers, not the norm for Louisville, Kentucky.
Things are calming down a little bit. Stranded motorists are still
the biggest issue.
Mayor Greg Fisher moments ago as the city braces for another frigid night. Right now, it's 11 degrees in Louisville and feels like -5. Even Miami is due to head below freezing tonight. Tennessee under a state of emergency with at least 7 deaths blamed on the weather. Chicago, one of the cities where it's been too cold to send kids to school. It took months, but the U.S. and Turkey hammer out a deal for the U.S. to arm and train Syrian rebels in Turkey for the fight against ISIS.
Certainly, we are looking forward to implementing this plan, and we thank them for their efforts. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki, after the U.S. Embassy in Turkey confirmed an agreement was signed, Congress has approved $500 million to arm and train up to 5,000 moderate Syrian rebels. A 3-day summit on countering violent extremism at its roots is wrapping up at the White House, where Fox News Radio's John Decker is live.
Wrapping up the 3-day summit, the president echoed a comment from a State Department official earlier this week that jobs creation programs could be an effective counterterrorism tool against ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
So if we're serious about countering violent extremism, we have to get serious about confronting these economic grievances.
The president, in a speech to top officials from more than 60 countries, said those economic grievances make Muslim communities ripe for extremist recruitment. Critics charge the president's strategy for dealing with ISIS is too restrained. Lisa?
John, police have a Las Vegas home surrounded, trying to arrest a suspect in the killing of a woman shot after a road rage incident a week ago turned into a gunfight. SWAT teams are at a home only a block away from where 44-year-old Tammy Myers lived. They've been using bullhorns, urging the suspect to surrender. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Are you one of the millions of Americans?
Real Estate Show. That's right, a real estate show for consumers. All inside information to help you, the consumer. Every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 630 KHOW. The Consumers Real Estate Show, Saturday mornings at 8 on 630 KHOW.
Head to the high country for a good cause and ski for NSCD. This online fundraising campaign rewards you with free Winter Park Resort lift tickets and season passes for the 2015-2016 season. All the funds you raise support the NSCD's life-changing therapeutic sports and recreation programs held throughout the year. The NSCD is recognized around the world as a premier therapeutic recreation organization, providing leadership and expertise in adaptive sports. To set up your Ski for NSCD personal page, visit the National Sports Center for the Disabled's website at nscd.org.
5866317. Nerve Pain Plus. Superior Pain Management. Call 1-800-586-6317. That's 1-800-586-6317.
Quick update on that breaking news in Las Vegas where SWAT teams had a home surrounded. Police now say they have arrested a suspect in the road rage killing of a Las Vegas mother. And this comes from the Associated Press. The Canadian company behind the long-delayed Keystone Pipeline will seek State Department approval for another pipeline, this one heading north.
TransCanada Corp's proposed $600 million upland pipeline would begin in northwestern North Dakota, and if built, would transport some 300,000 barrels of oil daily north into Canada. The company hopes to have the upland pipeline operating by 2018, but it needs approval from North Dakota, Canada, and the U.S. State Department. TransCanada has been trying for years to get U.S. approval for the Keystone XL, which would connect Canada's tar sands to Gulf Coast refineries. Congress last week okayed construction, but President Obama has vowed to veto it. Jeff Manasso, Fox News Radio.
A lot of Walmart workers will get raises as the company boosts its minimum wage.
It's a $1 billion investment. Walmart raising entry-level wages to $9 an hour, and by next year, $10 an hour. A starting wage for some department managers will top $13 an hour. Company Executive Vice President Dan Bartlett says more training will be available as well.
To not only get that entry-level wage, but to grow with our company into more management-ready roles.
Walmart has faced criticism, workers staging protests in past years demanding higher wages. Bartlett says the changes reflect the fact the company is listening to its employees. Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio.
One of the 3 winning ticket holders for last week's big Powerball jackpot has come forward in Puerto Rico, but has chosen to remain anonymous. The other winning tickets were sold in Texas and North Carolina, each worth more than $100 million if the lump sum option is chosen. At the closing bell, the Dow down 44 points. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Highway speeds in a beautiful
Highway speeds and a beautiful day this afternoon. Great looking drive all across the Denver metro area. No major slowdowns to speak of along your 225 drive in or out of Aurora. I-70 seeing very good looking speeds from the airport all the way up into the high country. If you are up in the high country, eastbounders are seeing some pretty good slowdowns through Idaho Springs due to some earlier construction. It is up and out of the way. No major slowdowns along the Boulder Turnpike in or out of Boulder. Great looking speeds on 6th Avenue in or out of Lakewood. Off highway, we do have a crash in the cleanup stages at 35th and Colorado. Denver weather continued warm this afternoon. Overnight low of 30. Tomorrow clouding up and a high of 55. Right now 58 degrees in Denver. With your traffic and weather, I'm John Henry.
Hi everybody, Ray Lucia here. You know, I've been called a money guru. I've been called a financial wizard. But you can just call me Ray on the radio. So tune into the Ray Lucia Show every Saturday from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on 630 KHOW.
Thanks for listening to me, Sean Hannity, on Talk Radio 630. Thanks for listening to me, Sean Hannity, on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
You've had an administration that's been in place for 6 years in which there hasn't been a major scandal. I think that says a lot about the ethical strictures.
We spend more time talking about what do you call it as opposed to what do you do about it. If Fox didn't talk about this, they'd have nothing else to talk about, it would seem to me. How do you kill ISIS at this point? Who's doing the killing?
First of all, this isn't just about killing them. It's about degrading and destroying their capabilities.
But we cannot win this war by killing them. We cannot kill our way out of this war.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution. This is how we Sean Hannity. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America. Now it's time for Jamie Dupree, the most connected man in D.C. on the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, he's the most connected man in Washington. By the way, at the bottom of this hour, Rudy Giuliani, who said, I do not believe, and I know it's a horrible thing to say, that I don't believe the president loves America. Then he went on to explain it in detail, what he meant. He'll join us at the bottom of this coming half hour. Then we have two experts on Islam, including, who's going to join us, Daniel Akbari, who was imprisoned and tortured in Iran for converting to Christianity. Going to tell us his story, and then we'll analyze what it is that people read in the Quran that causes them to kill infidels and to label apostasy, and the penalty for which is death, and what Daniel Akbari actually went through. Jamie, how are you?
All right, Sean, how you doing today?
Huge amount of reaction to this 3-day summit on extremism that, by the way, you can't mention extremism.
Yeah, you know, just from the basic name of it, I have to say as a reporter, violent extremism, just it sounds almost like a bureaucratic type of term. And I think it's obvious this week that the White House has heard some of the criticism out there, which frankly has come mainly from Republicans, but from some Democratic quarters as well. I mean, it's obvious that there's been this semantic almost gymnastics in recent weeks in the administration at the White House not to use Islamic terrorism or anything like that. There was an interesting article I read, I think it was yesterday, about how the Bush administration also wrestled at times with the whole issue of what to call it. But I think back then that the argument 8 years ago was maybe more of Democrats, or they thought the pendulum had gone too far in pushing the war on terror and more. But in today's speech by the president at the State Department, he followed some of the same themes from yesterday and really tried to draw a distinct line, saying that Islam is not the problem, that it's violent parts of Islam. But obviously for a lot of Republicans, what the president's been saying lately just doesn't cut in, as we've discussed a number of times. I'm certain we're going to hear a lot more about it as they argue, overall the Republicans do, that the president is pushing a weak foreign policy.
They have no problem pointing out, quote, crimes done in the name of Christ. I've never heard the president say crimes in the name of Muhammad or crimes in the name of Allah. Have you? Can you name a time?
I don't have the record from me, but no, it's definitely not something that he's always seemed to draw that line or not take that extra step. I mean, again, looking back 8 years ago, we had a lot of Democrats who felt like that George W. Bush had gone too far. And now we seem to have the pendulum swung all the way back the other way. But I do think it does play into, and even this has been acknowledged by some Democrats, that there's been this extra effort by the administration not to say certain things. And, okay, I get it that they're trying not to draw a direct line.
And why doesn't that exist for the name of Jesus? Crimes in the name of Jesus. Why does that, why did he mention the Crusades? Why did Joe Biden mention what he mentioned yesterday about Christians? They have no problem labeling Christians.
Yeah, it's certainly raised a lot of question in GOP circles, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. And the summit this week, it was interesting. I listened to today's speech, and it was odd in the sense that it wasn't really a speech that was meant for applause or anything, Sean, but there was no polite applause during the speech at all. It was all just a straight speech and then applause at the end. And it just, as some of the headlines said, it seemed the president was doubling down on his rhetoric from earlier this week.
I wonder what the president would say if 21 Muslims were beheaded by Christians. Would he mention that they were beheaded by Christians? I mean, because he wouldn't acknowledge that the people that were beheaded on the beaches of the Mediterranean this weekend, you watched it, I watched it, were Christian.
I thought it was interesting, and it would almost seem to me that, especially in yesterday's speech and a little in today's, that he was in a sense acknowledging the criticism that he's heard.
Oh yeah, he's now acknowledging it, but they still didn't. They also had this guy at the summit that had stated after 9/11 that the Jews could be suspect, and should be suspects in terms of the 9/11 hit. You knew he was at the conference, right?
I didn't hear anything about that, no.
Yeah, well, we brought it up on radio and TV yesterday. Anyway, the other thing that's happening is, here's the case that I read Rudy's comments, and I've known Rudy Giuliani for a long time. He did not say this out of a vacuum. And this is the case that I think he's making, is that Jimmy Carter, even Jimmy Carter, even Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan talked about American exceptionalism. He wouldn't recognize American exceptionalism. Well, like the Greeks, they believe in the American exceptionalism. This goes back to the apology tour. This goes back to the man that worshipped in Jeremiah Wright's GD Church, America's Chickens, Home to Roost. This is a guy that started his political career in Bill Ayer's home. This is a guy that was a disciple of Frank Marshall Davis and Saul Alinsky and part of the Acorn community. And this is a guy that wants to fundamentally transform the country. Now, I'll use an example. You love your wife, right?
Darn right I do.
You love your kids, right?
You got it.
You want to fundamentally transform them?
Into something better, maybe, yes.
Not fundamentally transform them. You may want to, like, for example, you may want to
soften the edges here and there, yes.
Yeah, but fundamentally, you don't want to transform that which you already love. This isn't Jeopardy, you only get so much time to answer. That's called.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to answer anything else. Yeah. I was waiting for you to go next.
Fundamental transformation. You don't want to fundamentally transform that which you already love. So if it's, you go back to the apology tour, you go back to the greatest influences in his life, including radicals like Ayers and Dorn, and you begin to see that there is the emergence, of somebody that doesn't believe in American exceptionalism, feels a compulsion to go out and apologize, wants to fundamentally change America. I think that's where his, and then you have stupid comments by the State Department moron that, says, well, we need a jobs program for terrorists. That's what we need, a jobs program.
Well, we certainly have a fundamentally different way that the two parties are talking about foreign policy and talking about the role of the United States and more. And, as we've discussed, certainly Republicans will get an awful lot of chances in coming months to hammer home this. And I fully expect that you'll see that as a very big part of the GOP race. And, that's why part of me sort of wonders as I look at the GOP field right now, the one person that maybe is not as hawkish as the others on foreign policy is Rand Paul. And I'm going to be interested to see how he deals with this in the months ahead as well.
Did you see the New York Post front cover today?
Yeah, with the blindfold on the president.
Blindfold on the president, Islamic terror, I just don't see it. I've never seen a headline like that. And the New York Post is known for their headlines, as is the Daily News, the tabloids in New York. I had never seen anything that powerful than what they put there. What did you think of it?
I don't know. To me, it was another New York Post kind of front cover. I mean, if you liked it, it was certainly a big thumbs up. I think, again, we're going to see an awful lot of those kind of attacks from Republicans in the coming months.
All right, the other thing, and last point on this is does anybody know, the Prime Minister of Israel said that he's going to Washington because I'm the Prime Minister, and my obligation is to do everything in my power to prevent the conclusion of a bad deal that would threaten the survival of Israel. And he said the current proposal to Iran would endanger Israel, enable Iran to build its first nuclear device within an unacceptably short period of time, and allow Iran to build an industrial capability to enrich uranium that could provide the fuel for many bombs in coming years, and a regime that openly calls for Israel's destruction would thus finally have the means to realize their genocidal aims. Does anybody know what's in this deal? Has any of the details been leaked?
I haven't seen anything. I mean, the White House has basically been accusing the Israelis of leaking small details that are not and not in a broader context. At the briefing yesterday, I thought that's what Josh Earnest had said at one point, was that accusing the Israelis of leaking parts of the investigation. But no, I don't know of any lawmakers who know some of the inside stuff, or if they do know, they certainly aren't talking about it.
One political note, I noticed that Joe Biden was in Iowa last week, South Carolina yesterday, New Hampshire next week. Is he there kind of groping women like he did the defense secretary's wife? How creepy was that?
I always like to say that the schedule tells a story, and this schedule makes me sort of wonder, because you don't just sort of schedule the vice president to go to Des Moines. You don't just sort of schedule him to go to New Hampshire. You don't just sort of schedule him to go to South Carolina and then step back and say, oh, yeah, that's right. Those are 3 of the first 4 states that vote in the presidential race next year. I mean, I don't know if he's going to run, but I would think that it would raise a lot fewer eyebrows, Sean, if Joe Biden was going instead to, like, Michigan, New York, and Georgia. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, states that are not some of the first few. I still think, and I've always thought, that Biden really does want to run. I know he didn't do very well the last time or the first time he ran, but he certainly has. I mean, he is one of the
that few, little plagiarism problem got in the way.
That was sort of an issue back in, 88, I think. But he is one of the few people in either party that could probably go to just about any major city in any major state and be able to immediately draw on people. I mean, he certainly has the breadth of knowing people from all through the years. If he wants to run, I don't know if he really is going to pull the trigger. He has said that he was going to decide by later this summer.
That's pretty interesting. All right, so Congress is back next week, and now we've had the court decision in the interim about immigration.
Yeah, and still no change at this point in time from anybody about the issue of what we're going to do with the funding. I don't sense the Democrats are backing down on their Senate filibuster. I don't sense the Republicans are backing down, but there still are some GOP voices out there that say, they should just pass a clean Department of Homeland Security funding bill and be done with it and just let the courts sort this out. I do think that it is interesting that ruling came down late Monday night. It's now Thursday. The administration, I'm not saying they're not going to appeal. They've made it very clear they are. But this tells me they're not going to seek an emergency stay if we've waited this long, but we'll have to see. But I certainly get the feeling, Sean, that this is going to be a while. The White House was not guessing this week at all as to how long the immigration actions would remain on hold. If you're going to go to the Fifth Circuit, if you're going to have hearings.
They've concluded they're going to lose in the Fifth Circuit, and they probably suspect they'd lose in the Supreme Court.
Well, then it's going to take a while to get there, right?
Well, true.
I mean, it could.
But it's still, the stay would be in place, I would assume, in the interim. If not in Texas, you still got 25 other states.
I agree. And so it makes you wonder how much of this is really on the back burner at this point in time. And certainly it depends on what happens in higher courts. But I'm just sort of interested in standing back and looking at the administration and not seeing them move real swiftly. Now, maybe they're putting together extensive briefs and more like that, and we'll have those in coming days. But still nothing official from them and nothing really official out of the Congress. I just get the sense from GOP lawmakers and leaders that they're not going to move. They're going to try to force the Democrats to move in the Senate and allow that bill up for a vote, at least on the amendments dealing with DACA and the other programs in the President's immigration actions.
So do you stand by your earlier prediction that maybe a week from now, next weekend, that we're going to go into the weekend, quote, with on record the Department of Homeland Security shut down and then it reopens on Monday?
That would be my bet right now. I mean, let's, for a second, quickly.
They're going to try and get everybody worked up into a frenzy.
Yeah, quickly put yourselves in the shoes of both parties. The Democrats will say, it's the end of the world. We could have a terrorist attack. Those terrible Republicans. The Republicans, I think, would like to focus it just on the Senate Democrats and say, hey, have you figured out how a bill becomes a law? You have a vote in the House and a vote in the Senate. And because Democrats are not even allowing the bill to come to the Senate floor, I think right now that's where a lot of Republicans would like to be. Now, the problem is this, Sean. There are a number of Republicans, a couple in the Senate, who have already said, that's just not the right thing to do. So watch some of those voices to see if any of them start to crack.
Name names.
Well, Mark Kirk has said he thinks there should be a clean bill. I think Jeff Flake has said that. John McCain has said something similar. So watch what some of those have to say in the next couple of days. The bottom line is
these people don't know how to win. These people don't know how to fight.
This. I don't think that the votes are even there in the Senate to keep the DACA language in, and the other language that votes might not be there either. But right now, we certainly don't know with the Democrats filibustering.
Yeah, but don't worry. The administration is now talking about taking in Syrian refugees, which could become a ticket for ISIS members if they can persuade people that they're just all innocent people. Did you hear about that debate?
No, I did not. I heard about that we signed a deal with the Turks at this point in time to train some of the Syrian rebels to send them in against the Islamic State.
Oh, wow. We actually, you got to remember, Jamie, the Islamic State is not Islamic, according to your president.
It's just a state. Okay.
All right. Jamie Dupree, the most connected man in Washington. Sean. When we come back, Rudy Giuliani says that, he doesn't believe that the president loves America. He's come under fire. He doesn't care. He'll explain his position. That's next. Hey, listen, all of us wake up different times. Linda's expecting the baby, in July? And she's had a few sleepless nights, uncomfortable. She gets a little cranky around here, yells at me, takes it out on me, gives me the finger all the time, and whatever I'm
giving it to you right now. It looks wonderful, doesn't it?
All right, but you have said that Genucel is taking care of the bags and the puffiness under your eyes on those mornings that you're really tired. I haven't noticed. You look beautiful as usual.
As always.
100%.
That's the right answer.
100%.
Every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
When you started complaining the other day about how you look, what did I say?
You look beautiful.
I said that in front of your husband, Lenny. He was on the speaker.
He knows that answer by heart, too.
That wasn't by heart. I said that having a child is a beautiful thing, but you're saying that Genucel takes away the bags and puffiness.
That's correct. Some of the things it takes away from me, Genucel gives back.
Susan from New Jersey. I've been using Genucel. Genucel, by the way, is plant stem cell technology. Gets away bags and puffiness, guaranteed within 12 hours. Or guess what? You get your money back, no questions asked. Susan says, I've been using it for a couple of months. Puffiness around my eyes is gone. Even the crow's feet, small lines have all disappeared. I love this product. I use it under my eyes, my cheekbones, my eyelids. Now, my wife's been using Genucel, and she loves it. She's been using Chamonix products now for, 16 years since I got to first know these guys. They're amazing. And it's always the highest quality. If you don't like it, and Genucel doesn't work for you in 12 hours, guaranteed your money back, no questions asked. And if you order Genucel right now, you get the legendary Esotique face cream absolutely free. So make this deal. Call 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509. Nothing to lose except bags and puffiness when you call Chamonix at 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509. Call now.
3 hours a day is all we ask on the Sean Hannity Show.
So please join us, but just don't be late.
Sean Hannity is on.
Glenn Beck, tonight at 7:06 on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
All loans subject to OnDeck score approval must be missed since at least 1 year to apply. Every day, more and more small business owners are trusting OnDeck for the quick, hassle-free funding they need.
As restaurant owners, my husband and I simply don't have the time for the tedious processing and long waits when it comes to bank financing. OnDeck's process is quick, easy to understand, and gives us the ability to grow our business.
Our accounting firm was in need of working capital. OnDeck was terrific and came through with the funding we needed within 24 hours.
At OnDeck, we focus on your business operations and not just your credit score. And we can help with true term loans of up to $250,000. Our loan costs and terms are transparent and understandable, and our application process takes as little as 10 minutes. OnDeck is a publicly listed company on the New York Stock Exchange, and we provided $1.7 billion nationwide. So if you're a small business owner who's looking for a trustworthy lender, funding could be available in just one business day. Go to OnDeckLending.com or call 800-224-1620. That's 800-224-1620.
Is it time to own your own business? Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care, is ranked in the top 10 franchises in America. Visiting Angels franchises are affordable and send experienced caregivers to provide non-medical assistance to adults so they can avoid moving to a nursing home. You'll receive the best training and unsurpassed ongoing guidance. Thousands of home care client leads are distributed to franchisees. For information on available territories, go to visitingangelsfranchises.com. That's visitingangelsfranchises.com.
In the time you spent listening to this radio spot, you could have completed and submitted an entire expense report with a simple picture of your receipt. That's all it takes for you to get back to work and for your business to run more efficiently. To learn more and discover all the ways Concur helps manage your company's expenses, just go to tryconcur.com for a free test drive.
About a smart, disciplined approach to investing.
We feel that an educated investor is an informed investor.
Join Brad Jenkins of Jenkins Wealth Management Group for Technically Speaking, Sunday at 12 o'clock on Talk Radio 630 KHOW.
If you're looking for a used car, you probably dread the thought of shopping around. That's because the used car industry has gotten a terrible reputation over the years. I know. I'm Tom Martino, and I hear all the complaints. But if you've dealt with Rocky's Autos, you know buying a used car can be a pleasant experience. You know there's a place for a huge selection of clean, safe cars. You know there's a place with friendly people who don't play car dealer games. You know there's a place to get solid financing on the spot. You know there's a place that honors their deals and their word. You know all of this because you've been to Rocky's Autos. But what about the rest of you, the ones who dread shopping for used cars? Why haven't you been to Rocky's? If you don't like selection, you don't like value, you don't like making friends, well, maybe you won't like Rocky's. But for you others, check them out. 63rd and Federal. Or call them at 303-426-4646, 426-4646, or pre-qualify online at rockysautos.com.
More than 11 million Americans are signed up for private health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. The White House tweeted a video of the president saying Obamacare is working better than we anticipated, certainly working better than many of the critics talked about. The open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act ended on February 15th. The White House says an estimated 11.4 million people signed up during the 3-month open enrollment period. Canada confirms its first case of mad cow disease since 2011. The case of mad cow disease was found in a beef cow in Alberta. Experts say no part of the cow had reached the human food supply or animal feed systems. They're trying to figure out how it became infected. A San Diego hospital is making procedural changes after a patient died from falling out of bed. Officials with Palomar Health say changes have been made to make sure such an event doesn't happen again. In 2013, a patient that was left unattended fell while trying to get out of his bed and suffered skull fractures and bleeding on the brain. With your 24/7 health update, I'm Elisa Z.
And now your iHeartRadio Home Theater Throwdown.
This week, Oscar nominee Michael Keaton makes a comeback on Broadway with help from Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, Zach Galifianakis, and Edward Norton in Birdman. Available now on Blu-ray, DVD, and your digital stream. Also out, another Oscar nominee Eddie Redmayne as Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything, Bill Murray and Melissa McCarthy in St. Vincent, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber 2, the touching Roger Ebert documentary Life Itself, and James Franco and Seth Rogen in the controversial, sometimes hysterical, The Interview. Plus, fresh seasons of Game of Thrones and The Wahlburgers and WWE, The Destruction of the Shield. Oh, yeah!
There's your iHeartRadio Home Theater Throwdown.
From the political to the personal, Mandy Connell's talking about whatever matters to you. Tomorrow morning at 5, Talk Radio 630, KHOW.
Know what we're going to do on TV tonight? We're going to put all this together. President, let's see, he's at war with Netanyahu, attacks Christians, in the name of Jesus, won't mention Allah or Muhammad, defending Islam at all costs. You know, the attacks at the kosher supermarket, that's random. National prayer breakfast, in the name of Jesus Christ they killed the Crusades. But he won't offend Muslims. Even the mainstream media is now furious about this. We'll have all that. Also tonight, Rudy's comments. Rudy Giuliani joins us here next. And he says, I don't believe the president loves America. We'll debate that. Ted Cruz says Obama's an apologist for radical Islamic terrorists. The great one, Mark Levin, will join us. And a disturbing story near Detroit about a man stabbed 2 victims after he asked if they were Muslim, and they were not. As radical Islam spreading to America. Will the president ever admit that? 10 Eastern.
Usual slowing in the usual spots, but not a major amount of delays on the highways throughout the Denver metro area right now. Northbound along I-25, Broadway up to Alameda, as is usual. You're seeing the usual slowdowns in that area, but the rest of the I-25 drive looking very good, northbound or southbound. Up in the high country, still delays to be had in the eastbound lanes of I-70 through Idaho Springs. That construction should be up and out of the way before a whole lot longer, but pretty good delays in that area. I-70 still looking very good either side of I-25 once you're in town, though. No delays into or out of DIA. Denver weather continued warm this afternoon, mainly clear overnight, low of 27. Tomorrow cloudy and a high of 52. Right now 59 in Denver. With your traffic and weather, I'm John Henry.
Do you have hot or cold spots in your house? Do you open your utility bill every month and think they are way too high? Have you ever wondered what you can do about it but have no idea who to call? Apple Air is the one and only HVAC company in Colorado that offers a whole home performance plan with their home weatherization services. This is Mandy Connell for Apple Air. Apple Air is a reliable company that's been in business for more than 25 years. Call today to schedule your energy assessment. Apple Air is offering this to Mandy Connell listeners for only $250, half off the regular price. And with a $150 utility company rebate, it's a no-brainer. Go ahead and do it. You could receive up to $2,000 in additional rebates from your utility company after your home energy efficiency upgrades. For ways to improve your home efficiency, call Apple Air today at 303-733-2813 or find them online at appleairinc.com. That's 303-733-2813 or appleairinc.com.
Hey, Denver, it's Glenn back to tell you why renting with Renters Warehouse can be much better than selling your house. I've met with these guys personally, and I love their no-strings-attached approach to helping everyday homeowners rent and manage their homes. They help homeowners, just like me or just like you, keep our property while earning cash flow, equity, and tax savings, all while having tenants pay your mortgage. Let the pros at Renters Warehouse find you tenants in just weeks on average with their certified tenant match and warranty program. If a tenant doesn't work out for any reason, they'll replace them for free for up to 18 months. That's twice the guarantee than normal. And forget about the 3 a.m. phone calls of the leaky pipes. The professional landlords offer 24/7 property management for a low monthly flat fee, so you don't have to deal with the nonsense. No upfront fees, no binding contracts, and you can cancel anytime. Go to renterswarehouse.com or call 303-600-8383 for a free rental price analysis today. renterswarehouse.com.
Michael Brown here, and I want to talk to you about Neuro Colorado. Neuro Colorado does neurofeedback. So if you suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, anger issues, ADHD, or have had a traumatic brain injury, you need to call Sean at Neuro Colorado. Not only is Sean a licensed counselor, he also uses neurofeedback to help his patients. Neurofeedback simply retrains your brain waves to work at optimum condition. It's non-invasive. There are no drugs to take. Call Sean today at 720-232-0834 or go to neurocolorado.com.
Don't be locked in your house for the rest of winter with dust, dirt, and grime all over your carpets. Get Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company out to your house right now and get the lowest price of the season. Book before the end of February and get 3 carpeted areas pre-treated, cleaned, and sanitized for just $109. It's their winter deal. Zero Res cleans without the use of soaps, detergents, or harsh toxic chemicals. Call Zero Res at 303-471-5150, 303-471-5150, or online, ZeroResDenver.com.
Alorama started his company many years ago and takes pride in his longevity.
And longevity really comes down to having somebody come back time and time again, not one time. That's not a customer.
No, for Al, a customer is a friend and someone who doesn't even have to think about it when he or she needs auto repair and maintenance.
You want people to come year after year bringing their cars, their family's cars.
So let your family join Al's family at Pro Auto Care, 303-PRO-AUTO, and online at 303proauto.com.
The Denver Scholarship Foundation believes in the potential of every student in Denver public schools. They believe they deserve the chance to attend and achieve a college degree, and they've put in place the tools and resources to make it possible. From their future centers located located inside DPS high schools to scholarships for thousands of students to support on college campuses to help students succeed. Their mission is to not just get students into college, it's to see them graduate. To learn more, visit denverscholarship.org or find them on Facebook or Twitter.
Around here, the conversation never stops. Never. We're not kidding. Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take a second to hear the immortal Bob Grant's thoughts about the world today.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's sick, and it's getting sicker.
Now, back to the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 25 now till the top of the hour. Toll-free, our telephone numbers, 800-941-SEAN, if you want to be a part of the program. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani came out last night and said the following about the president.
You basically said, it's being construed as whether or not you're challenging the president's patriotism. You said this: when I hear the president speak, I don't believe that he expresses the love of America as much as he does criticism of America. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, I'm not questioning his patriotism. He's a patriot, I'm sure. What I'm saying is that in his rhetoric, I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents. And when it's not in the context of an overwhelming number of statements about the exceptionalism of America, it sounds like he's more of a critic than he is a supporter. And you can be a patriotic American and be a critic, but then you're not expressing that kind of love that we're used to from a president. And what I question about the president maybe is even broader than that he doesn't express a love of America enough, which I don't think he does. I think he talks more about criticism rather than about what an exceptional country we are. At least I don't feel that from him. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't feel that. I don't also believe he expresses the love of Western civilization that he should, or an understanding of Western civilization, or what Western civilization has brought to the world.
This is a fascinating statement and question. Remember, the president wouldn't talk about American exceptionalism. Well, I'm sure the Greeks, they believe they're exceptional, and someone else believes they're exceptional. The same president, we're all aghast at his apology tour when he first came in office. This is a man who literally, we all know, worshipped in the church of a pastor who said, GD America. And America's chickens have come home to roost the Sunday after 9/11. He sat in the pews of that pastor for 20 years. Remember, the president talked about America and white folks' greed.
It is this world, a world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year, where white folks' greed runs a world in need, apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere. That's the world on which hope sits.
That's what he said. The man who said in 2008 that there was so much wrong with America that he wanted to fundamentally transform this country. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is with us now. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, Sean. Nice to talk to you.
I know you're going to come under fire for this, and
I have quite a bit. I mean, first thing is, it was described as a racist comment. Of course, that's what they begin with, because I said I believe this comes out of his background in education. I would like to remind people that he was brought up by a white mother, a white grandfather and grandmother, and he went to white schools.
Wait a minute. Typical white grandmother was a phrase that he actually used, if you remember at the time.
This has nothing to do with race or any influence of race. This has to do with his whole education all his life. Just read his book. We go back to the early years. He's surrounded by people who are critics of America. Then he comes under the influence of Saul Alinsky. He comes under the influence of that Marshall guy.
Frank Marshall Davis, yeah.
Yeah, Frank Marshall Davis. Saul Alinsky believed in basically the peaceful overthrow of the United States government. And then he stays in Reverend Wright's church for 17 years, who makes the comment, damning America. That's a church you or I would quit. if our minister or priest said that.
That's right.
And most people who have this deep, let's even call it romantic love of America would leave. And then we have a president who spends all his time criticizing us. And I have heard this all over America. And what I said last night at Scott Walker's fundraiser, I have said 100 times, that the president does not exude in his rhetoric the kind of love of America that American presidents traditionally exude, that we are exceptional, that we're wonderful, that we have done things that no other nation has ever done. And then, as a footnote to that we have our faults and they have to be worked on, but we're one of the few countries that can really correct its faults. And that was in the context of being asked what kind of Republican presidential candidate I wanted to see with Scott sitting right there. And I said, Scott, it could be you, it could be Bush, it could be Christie, it could be a lot of other people. What I'm looking for is somebody that can once again reassert the exceptionalism of the United States the way my president, the one I work for, Ronald Reagan, did.
You also said something that I often say, very similar to what I often say, and I have gone through the history of Obama, I think more extensively than anybody else in the media that I know, going back to 2007 and 8, and I talked a lot about the influence of Frank Marshall Davis and Acorn and Alinsky and Reverend Wright and Father Flager and Bernardine Dorn and Bill Ayers.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
and by the way, I was excoriated for it, Mr. Mayor.
That's where it all comes from, Sean.
I was excoriated. But you said something that really... This is how I feel. What country has left so many young men and women dead abroad to save other countries without taking their land? This is not the colonial empire that somehow he has in his head.
You're right on target. In fact, I used that example last night.
Yeah, I was quoting you.
My talk at the Scott Walker, and except I didn't draw the final the final point, which is how come he doesn't distinguish us then from these other countries? I know. I read that book, Faith. What is it, Faith of My Father, or Faith?
Yeah, Faith of Our Fathers. Yes.
But then there's the one that's written about how his father's anti-colonialism was a great influence on the way he looks at things. Well, see, I think that's distorted some of his view, but it certainly shouldn't apply to America. America. Yeah.
That book was Dreams of My Father.
Years hasn't sought colonies.
Yeah, that book was Dreams of My Father. What was the name of the other book that he wrote, Linda? We went through it indeed. The Audacity of Hope was the other one.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Dreams from My Father.
Dreams from My Father. Now, what's fascinating, you go back, Nicholas Kristof quoted Obama, and this dovetails into what I want to ask you, because I don't care if you come under fire. You are 100% right. The way modern presidents, even ones that I didn't like or didn't vote for, they constantly expressed American love of America and American exceptionalism. It's always America being criticized by this guy. America, oh, I'm sorry for America. And this started early on in his administration in 2009, and I think it does have something to do with the people that influenced him early in his life. He's shown absolutely no sister soldier moment pragmatic side of him. He has shown no ability to adapt or adjust his political indoctrination or ideology. But there's something that's also missing with him, and that is he never praises this country and how great this country is to the extent these other presidents have. That is a missing component. I stand with you. I agree with you. There's never been a president more critical and less praising of America.
I certainly in our lifetime there hasn't been, and I think the answer to it is what we've been talking about. It's that whole background, going back to the time he was young, through all of his different educational experiences, work experiences, being exposed just to the number of people we talked about. I mean, these are some of the worst people in terms of hating America. I mean, Reverend Wright has expressed it more directly than the others, but Saul Alinsky hated America and the way America...
Oh, Bill Ayers?
Destruction.
Who hangs out and gives speeches?
Ayers was a terrorist.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, then he's quoted in the New York Times, Nicholas Kristof, with a, quote, first-rate accent, that there's nothing more beautiful in the world. He's talking about the Muslim school he went to and was trained in Jakarta, than the call to prayer at sunset. Now, this training, I want to juxtapose that to his comments yesterday. This is what the president, he's making this rationale. Now, you got to see it through this context. He has now openly attacked Christians and crimes they have committed, quote, in the name of Christ. He's gone back 800, 1,000 years to talk about the Crusades. But he will not say radical and Islamic and terrorist, those words together. And here's the rationale he gives yesterday.
First, we have to confront squarely and honestly the twisted ideologies that these terrorist groups use to incite people to violence. Now, leading up to this summit, there's been a fair amount of debate in the press and among pundits about the words we use to describe and frame this challenge. So I want to be very clear about how I see it. Al-Qaeda and ISIL and groups like it are desperate for legitimacy. They try to portray themselves as religious leaders, holy warriors in defense of Islam. That's why ISIL presumes to declare itself the Islamic State. And they propagate the notion that America, and the West generally, is at war with Islam. That's how they recruit. That's how they try to radicalize young people. We must never accept the premise that they put forward, because it is a lie. Nor should we grant these terrorists the religious legitimacy that they seek. They are not religious leaders, they're terrorists. And we are not at war with Islam. We are at war with people who have perverted Islam.
Now, he also goes on to say, Mr. Mayor, no religion is responsible for terrorism. But that was when he said at the prayer breakfast when he talked about crimes committed in the name of Jesus Christ. I've never heard him talk about crimes committed in the name of Allah or the Prophet Muhammad.
Well, absolutely true. He hasn't. And then when all of those Egyptian Coptic Christians were killed, no outcry, no condemnation from the president. When the Jewish people were killed several times now by Islamic extremists.
He said that was random. And he wouldn't say they were Christians.
No condemnation of anti-Semitism. I can't remember an American president in my lifetime where a group of Jewish people were killed that wouldn't invoke I remember Argentina. I was the mayor of New York when the people in Argentina were killed, by the way, ordered by Rouhani, who is now the reform head of Iran that Obama is negotiating with. When those people in Argentina were killed, we had a big ceremony in New York that I attended as the mayor, and we spoke out and condemned anti-Semitism in Argentina. We didn't call it random act of violence in Argentina. We called it exactly for what it was. And by doing that, I think we helped stop it. You didn't get acts like that in the future. And the reality is, I'll give you another thing, Sean, that makes what he's saying so phony. If he wants to have a battle of ideas, which in part this is, right? This is a battle of competing ways of looking at the world. You have got to describe the way your enemy looks at the world if you're going to deconstruct it and take it apart. If you refuse to do that, if you refuse to name it and describe where it's coming from, you can't take it apart. I mean, you and I can sit down and we can look at Islamic extremist terrorism, and we can see the parts of the Quran they're taking it from. And we can argue that those parts of the Quran should be reformed, should be changed, should be interpreted differently. But that's how you have the battle of ideas. But if you pretend that this isn't emerging from a religion, albeit what we would like to call a misinterpretation of it, then you can't have this. Where are you having this battle of ideas? No place. And,
I want to say something. I've known you a long time. A real long time, and we've been friends a long time, and I watched you transform the city of New York. I think this is a pivotal moment, and it took somebody of your stature and your credibility on this issue to bring this very important debate to the forefront, and I know you're going to be under fire. I really do. But it is so important, because if we don't get this right, there are going to be so many more people that will die. And the president's about to make the biggest mistake with Iran, and he won't even tell us what this deal, includes.
This is the reason I didn't, as I said, I've been saying this for 2 or 3 years, and it got picked up in the context that it got picked up in, and I'm not saying it was out of context. It wasn't. But the reality is, I am at a stage, as I told you personally, I think last night, of real worry for my country. And you were hitting the nail on the head. ISIL is ISIL, Al-Qaeda, very dangerous, horrible people. Killing Christians, killing Jews.
You don't want to live through 9/11 again. You were on the front lines. You don't want to see this happen, and
President Obama didn't live through September 11. I did. President Obama didn't almost, have a building fall on him. Myself and my police commissioner and my fire commissioner did, and I lost 10 of my very close friends. And now I've lost about 100 close friends because I've become so friendly with many of the families. So, excuse me, it's a little bit emotional for me, but it's also real. These people are dangerous. When they start chopping the heads of Christians off, when they start bombing Jews, we're moving in a direction that is exceedingly dangerous.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have
the president to downplay it.
It's
For the
nuts.
president to say, and for Holder to say, this is a creation of Fox News. My goodness, where are they, on Mars?
All right, Mr. Mayor, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, and we'll get into what is in the Quran when we come back straight ahead.
And now, the Sean Hannity Show takes a little time out to list all the great accomplishments of Barack Obama as president so far. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Thank you for listening to me, Sean Hannity, on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station. Getting a new iPhone or another smartphone, if you have insurance through your cell phone company, you're probably paying as much as $11 every month, plus up to a $199 deductible when you break your phone. Now, you can save with SquareTrade phone protection instead. Now, SquareTrade is only $5 a month with a much lower deductible. Now, you can save over $240 per phone. Visit SquareTrade.com. That's SquareTrade.com.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with one claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverage.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. The Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed law 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
An American store. Dino's 6th and 85 is under new ownership. The oldest truck stop in Colorado is serving up home-style food and New Mexican cuisine 24 hours a day. Stuck in traffic? Head over to Dino's with the friendliest waitresses in town and a full-service lounge. Dino's 6th and 85 is trucker-friendly. Dino's has been serving up home-style food since the 40s and been featured in movies such as The Frame and soon-to-be-released Dear Eleanor. Come by for a great bite to eat with exceptional service at 5555 Colorado Boulevard in Commerce City.
Do you want to lose 20 to 45 pounds in 40 days? No exercise, cravings, hunger, drugs, or hormones? This brand new technology is guaranteed. Most weight loss professionals tell you not to step on the scale. Trust us. Well, Dr. Cadwell says,
I want you to get on the scale every day. I want you to see just how this revolutionary technology is working for you. Here's what I say to new patients. How would you like to look in the mirror just 40 short days from now and see the person looking back is 20 to 45 pounds lighter?
This technology raises your metabolism, targets your belly, butt, hips, and thighs, and it's doctor supervised.
I've seen people lose 45 or more pounds in just 40 days. If you're diabetic, you need this. If you have low energy, you really need this. I'm Dr. Cadwell. Take a look at my free video. You're going to learn so much. Go to 411getthin.com and click on the free video. That's 411getthin.com.
After watching the video, call Dr. Cadwell at 844-411-THIN. 844-411-THIN.
We've got the 411 on getting you thin.
Hi, I'm Linda Gardner, host of Your Money, Your Retirement. Planning for retirement can be a real challenge. Will your money last? How should you invest? When should you start Social Security? I'll cover all this and more at the upcoming Baby Boomer Retirement Course. 2 workshops right in the Tech Center beginning March 4th. Register at richnessoflife.org/Regis. That's richnessoflife.org/REGIS or call 855-703-7654.
People keep talking about the great service at Sheridan Auto Tech. Listen to what Kayla Stevens had to say.
Winter is especially scary for me. If my car dies, I don't want to be left out in the cold. That's why I trust my car to Sheridan Auto Tech and owner Kevin Colkin. Kevin made sure my car was ready for winter, which can be their toughest time of year. I just say take care of it, and I trust them, as in all seasons, to do the best job at the best value. Thanks, Kevin, and thanks, Sheridan Auto Tech.
Sheridan Auto Tech in Lakewood on Colfax and Aurora on Havana. Call 303-455-7242.
Don't let the cool weather fool you. If you need your carpets cleaned, there's no need to wait until summer. Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company can come out now to get your carpets cleaned and take advantage of their winter special. 3 rooms, pre-treated, cleaned, and sanitized for just $109 if you book by the end of February. Zero Res cleans with empowered water, no soaps, detergents, or harsh toxic chemicals. Get that winter grime out of your house by calling 303-471-5150 or online ZeroResDenver.com. The right way to clean.
Are you concerned about your strength, power, and energy? What about your stamina and endurance? What if there is a proven solution that could power up your strength and vitality and at the same time help you build lean muscle and help you feel great every single day? Introducing Everstrong by Purity Products. Powered by pharmaceutical-grade creatine, Everstrong is the breakthrough formula that's helping men and women all over America safely boost their strength and vitality while helping them recapture their edge. Once the exclusive secret of world-class athletes, Everstrong is the little pill that makes a big difference. Everstrong has been clinically tested and shown to help you get stronger. We're so sure it's going to work for you, we'll even give you a free bottle to put it to the test. For your free bottle of Everstrong, call 1-800-362-6175. Don't miss out. For your free bottle, call right now. 1-800-362-6175. That's 1-800-362-6175.
Tom Martino, here to help if you've been ripped off or to make sure you don't get ripped off. Mornings at 10.
Hey, are you getting a good night's sleep? You know, we spend a third of our lives in bed. One great American company made it their mission now to give all of us the most comfortable, deep, healing, best night's sleep ever. You know what? I am so in love with MyPillow.com. It's the best night's sleep I have ever had. Now, it's the world's most comfortable pillow, designed to your own body shape, size, and sleeping position. It's also machine washable, made in the USA. Now, if MyPillow's not the best night's sleep you ever had, return it within 60 days, full refund, no questions asked. And in celebration of the 10th anniversary, MyPillow is having their best offer ever. Buy one MyPillow, get a second free. Use the promo code Hannity, save 50% off the rest of MyPillow.com on their website, and that includes everything. 5 million people, including me, know that MyPillow gives the best night's sleep you've ever had. Call 800-919-6090 or go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Hannity. 800-919-6090.
Hi, this is Regis Philbin. If you're retired or planning to retire, did you know it's possible for you to add tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars to your retirement income? Up to 30% more without added risk. The American Association of Independent Advisors' focus is helping you get more retirement income that's guaranteed and will never lose principal regardless of what the economy does. The AAIA difference lies in their independence. They can offer you strategies others may not have access to, and that can mean more retirement income for you.
Call 800-92-YOU-CHOOSE to get our free report, More Retirement Income, and a no-obligation personal retirement income analysis.
With AAIA, their independence is your advantage.
Call 800-92-YOU-CHOOSE, 800-929-6824. You may receive up to 30% more income with annuity strategies. Results may vary. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurer. Annuities not appropriate for all. AAIA professionals are not available in all.
More Hannity coming up after the news. And later at 4:04, it's Michael Brown. Right here on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
Hi, Jim Gravina with Gravina's Window Center in Littleton. We are a family-owned and operated business for over 41 years in Colorado, truly homegrown, and are very familiar with Colorado's unpredictable weather. We pride ourselves on offering our customers Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows, the finest quality windows in the market today.
That's right, Dad. Growing up in Colorado, we learned that not all windows can withstand our weather. If you're in the market for replacement windows, do your research. Replacement windows are not a home improvement project you're going to want to address more than once.
That's why we at Gravina's Window Center in Littleton encourage you to research your window replacement options. We are confident that our quality products, along with our professional installers certified by Installation Masters USA, will prevail as your number one choice.
Call us today at 303-794-0490 or check us out online at windowsforyourhome.com.
And remember, Gravina's is yours for your windows and doors.
From the RentersWarehouse.com studios, this is Denver's talk station. More with Hannity after the news on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
And Lisa Brady. SWAT teams have just captured the suspect in a road rage shootout that left a Las Vegas mom dead last week. Fox News Radio's Jessica Rosenthal has this live.
Lisa, police in Las Vegas say they've arrested a suspect after a standoff at a home. He's one suspect in a road rage incident that happened over the weekend in which a 44-year-old mother was shot and killed. Tammy Myers was driving with her teenage daughter when she was involved in a fight with another driver. Police say she went home and she and her son, who had a gun, drove around looking for the suspect car. They found it, followed it, then went home. But the suspects in that car then followed them and opened fire. Myers was shot in the head. Her family took her off of life support on Saturday, Lisa.
Jessica, thanks. Another dangerously cold night from the Midwest to the Northeast and parts of the Deep South.
And we're going to break some records all across the eastern half of the country for cold temperatures.
Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth, 16 degrees. The forecast for Atlanta, just 6 expected tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. Turkey agrees to let the U.S. train Syrian rebels in Turkey to fight ISIS.
Details have not been released as of yet, but in essence, Turkey is expected to host one of 3 anticipated training sites. Back in the fall, Congress passed legislation to train and equip 5,000 moderate Syrian rebels, agreeing to a budget request from the White House of $500 million. No training has begun as of yet.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Meantime, on the last day of a White House summit on violent extremism,
young people are taught to hate. It doesn't come naturally to them. We adults teach them.
President Obama urging nations to break the cycle of sectarian violence and reiterating the West isn't at war with Islam. The Dow slips below 18K, down 44 points. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
Are you one of the millions of Americans?
This Saturday, America's Wealth Management Show will air at noon. For must-know retirement strategies and the pitfalls to avoid, tune into America's Wealth Management Show this Saturday at noon on 630 KHOW or listen at 10 a.m. on Real Talk 760.
As we gather here and outbreak of Ebola overwhelms public health systems in
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
No, sir.
DWI.
What?
Driving while informed.
I just had this station on.
Yeah, all the time.
Be quiet.
How many updates have you had today?
A whole bunch.
Well, he doesn't.
That's what I thought.
Drive while informed with Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Well, you stay informed and drive carefully.
Thank you.
News Radio 850, KOA.
66317. Nerve Pain Plus. Superior Pain Management. Call 1-800-586-6317. That's 1-800-586-6317.
Can the marathon bombing suspect, Johar Tsarnaev, get a fair trial in Boston? An appeals court panel of 3 judges considering the defense request for a change of venue.
Tsarnaev's attorneys argue the crime affected the entire Eastern Division and was a direct attack on the marathon and the very city where the case will be tried, making it impossible to find a fair jury. They argue bias has been illustrated by the widespread Boston Strong sentiments, noting that just outside of the courthouse, Boston Strong signs are posted, one on a revolving cement truck.
Fox's Molly Line in Boston. Prosecutors say an impartial jury is possible, noting that as jury selection continues, potential jurors with strong opinions about Tsarnaev are admitting bias without hesitation. The judge in the Colorado movie massacre trial says jury selection is moving more quickly than expected, and that trial could begin in May instead of June. James Holmes has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity in the shooting rampage that killed 12 and wounded dozens. A same-sex wedding in Texas, even though the state's gay marriage ban is still in effect. A county court decision granting a license on medical grounds to 2 women because of one of them has ovarian cancer.
This is bittersweet for us because there are many other Texans, thousands of Texans, who would like to be able to have their loving, committed relationship recognized.
The Texas Attorney General is appealing to the state Supreme Court, which has now issued an emergency stay blocking any other gay marriages while the larger court fight over the state's ban continues. America has 3 new national monuments, including the Pullman Historic District in Chicago, an epicenter of the turn-of-the-century labor and civil rights movements.
This place has been a milestone in our journey toward a more perfect union.
In Chicago, President Obama also announcing the designations for Browns Canyon in Colorado and a former World War II internment camp in Hawaii. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Seeing slowdowns in the usual spots this afternoon. One surprise in the tech center. Northbound I-25 stacking up due to a stalled vehicle just north of Arapahoe Road, backups toward Dry Creek. Rest of the highway drive busy where you'd expect it. Northbound I-25, Logan to 6th. Also westbound I-70, 270 to Brighton Boulevard. Northbound I-25 busy north of the Turnpike. And big delays across Idaho Springs this afternoon due to some work at the Twin Tunnels. Backups all the way across town eastbound. The weather forecast, mostly sunny, high of 62, partly cloudy tonight, low 29. Increasing clouds tomorrow with a high of 51 and snow on the way for Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 62 degrees. Let's look at traffic and weather. I'm Rick Morgan.
Consumers Real Estate Show. That's right, a real estate show for consumers. All inside information to help you, the consumer. Every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 630 KHOW. The Consumers Real Estate Show, Saturday mornings at 8 on 630 KHOW.
Thanks for listening to me, Sean Hannity. On Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
You've had an administration that's been in place for 6 years in which there hasn't been a major scandal. I think that says a lot about the ethical strictures.
We spend more time talking about what do you call it as opposed to what do you do about it. If Fox didn't talk about this, they'd have nothing else to talk about, it would seem to me.
How do you kill ISIS at this point? Who's doing the killing?
First of all, this isn't just about killing them. It's about degrading and destroying their capabilities.
But we cannot win this war by killing them. We cannot kill our way out of this war.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution. This is how we Sean Hannity. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America. Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload.
First, we have to confront squarely and honestly the twisted ideologies that these terrorist groups use to incite people to violence. Now, leading up to this summit, there's been a fair amount of debate in the press and among pundits about the words we use to describe and frame this challenge. So I want to be very clear about how I see it. Al-Qaeda and ISIL and groups like it are desperate for legitimacy. They try to portray themselves as religious leaders, holy warriors in defense of Islam. That's why ISIL presumes to declare itself the Islamic State. And they propagate the notion that America, and the West generally, is at war with Islam. That's how they recruit. That's how they try to radicalize young people. We must never accept the premise that they put forward, because it is a lie. Nor should we grant these terrorists the religious legitimacy that they seek. They are not religious leaders, they're terrorists. And we are not at war with Islam. We are at war with people who have perverted Islam.
You basically said, well, it's being construed as
whether or not you're challenging the president's patriotism. You said this: when I hear the president speak, I don't believe that he expresses the love of America as much as he does criticism of America. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, I'm not questioning his patriotism. He's a patriot, I'm sure. What I'm saying is, in his rhetoric, I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents. And when it's not in the context of an overwhelming number of statements about the exceptionalism of America, it sounds like he's more of a critic than he is a supporter. And you can be a patriotic American and be a critic, but then you're not expressing that kind of love that we're used to from a president. And what I question about the president maybe is even broader than that he doesn't express a love of America enough, which I don't think he does. I think he talks more about criticism rather than about what an exceptional country we are. At least I don't feel that from him. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't feel that. I don't also believe he expresses the love of Western civilization. That he should, or an understanding of Western civilization, or what Western civilization has brought to the world.
You know what's fascinating about all of this is, well, the president doesn't have any problem going after Christians and talking about the Crusades 1,000 years ago in the name of Jesus Christ. You mention that, but you can't mention radical Islam in the name of Allah. You know, and here he won't even say those words. You know, does he say, oh, they do it in the name of Islam, they're perverting it? No, they do it out of a literal interpretation of the Quran. They take the words of the Quran as their justification for their killing. And then, of course, the comments of Rudy Giuliani. Anyway, to continue our story today, we have Fahim Yunus is back with us. He is the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Men's Association. And Daniel Akbari joins us. He's the author of Honor Killing, a professional's guide to sex relations and violence from the Islamic sources. He has a fascinating background. Daniel Akbari practiced as a top attorney in the Supreme Court of Iran. And he's an Islamic scholar. He was imprisoned. He was tortured in Iran for converting to Christianity. And he's now living in the U.S. And thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. Daniel, let me talk about the president. He had no problem naming Christianity or things done in the name of Jesus Christ. But I would argue that the Crusades, or at least his historical knowledge of it, was it was a partial story, because Crusades were in reaction to Muslim army conquests in Spain and Italy and France and Constantinople and so on and so forth. But he has no problem doing it. Joe Biden has no problem mentioning Christianity or in the name of Christ, but they won't say it in the name of Muhammad or in the name of Allah. Do you see the distinction?
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting me first. Sean, I have to first go through what the president said about they are desperate for legitimacy. Because they are desperate for legitimacy, we cannot lie and not tell the truth about Islam. If we lie, that makes us illegitimate. So is the Islam of Al-Qaeda and ISIS a perverted version of Islam? That's what we have to answer. Who is the authority who can evaluate whether somebody is following Islam or following a perverted version of Islam? It is common sense that the person who judges somebody's Islam has to have qualifications that show he knows what true Islam is, right? So if you believe that Al-Qaeda and ISIS Islam is perverted, you have to prove it by showing evidence from the Islamic.
All right, you're an Islamic scholar. I have read the Quran. I read about infidels and jihad, holy war, etc., etc. Is radical Islamic a direct result of, or a direct literal interpretation of the Quran?
Yeah, sir, always I had problem when I was listening to TV that they came out with radical Islam or extremism. They are not neither radical nor extremism. They are fundamentalists. They are true believers of the Quran. They go back to throughout century and believe what Muslim scholars said for 14 centuries. All these extremists and radical are made up things, and they don't age probably 40, 50 years. So that is what Islam teaches and what we as scholars learn it.
So in other words, you're saying that this is, fundamentally, they take the Quran at face value.
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly right. They take it serious.
So why do you think, give me your best analysis as somebody that was put in jail. You were a top attorney in Iran and you were an Islamic scholar. You were imprisoned. As I understand it, you were also tortured. Is that true?
Yes, that's right, sir.
Okay. So, and the cause was that you converted to Christianity, and under Islamic law, isn't the death for apostatism, as they describe it, isn't that the death penalty?
Exactly right. Ali, the fourth caliph, burned somebody who was an apostate, and Muhammad said, kill him. And the Quran expressly provides the death punishment for the one who turns away from Islam.
Okay, so explain to me why the president's so quick to criticize Christianity and label Christianity or talk about deeds in the name of Christ, but not in the name of Muhammad, or this is not Islam. And, he's giving us his, arrogant, sort of pretentious, know-it-all, nuanced definition. Well, we're giving them what they want when we call them Islamic, even when they're the Islamic State.
But when I have lived in this country for about 7 years, I have come to realize that they feel the danger from Christianity than Islam. So they think that Islam is the enemy of Christianity. So if they support the enemy of the Christianity, they have destroyed this in this country, because they feel the danger from Christianity, not from Islam.
Okay, now I want to ask you another question, because you're an Islamic scholar.
Yes, sir.
And as I said, I've read the Quran. Cite to me, to the extent that you can off the top of your head, what verses in the Quran are used to justify killing of infidels?
Wherever you find them, kill them in a horrible way. The Arabic term emphasizes, says, "Qutluhum ghatila," means killing them in such a way, killing. So it means in a horrible way. Wherever you find them, that's the exact term of the Quran. Wherever you find them, kill them in a horrible way. Do not let their kids and their property to excite your empathy.
Okay, keep going. So in other words...
Also, some people said, for example, Islam never says kill children and women. When somebody approached to Muhammad and said, oh, the Prophet of Allah, when we attack to the enemy, we might kill their children and their women as well. Muhammad said, hum minhum, they are from them. It means they are a part of the target.
Mm-hmm. Help us out here. Join in if you can, Fahim Yunus. Why don't you tell us, what are the very specific verses in the Quran that are used to justify violence?
Thank you very much for having me, Sean. I appreciate it, and I hope that I'll get my 5 minutes to answer some of these questions as well. A statement was made that you have read the Quran. I would humbly submit that as members of Ahmadiyya Muslim community, we live the Quran. We are leading this fight against extremism, this extreme doctrine that, yes, Daniel is right, and I empathize with the plight that he's gone through. Daniel, I'm very sorry, because that is not what the Islam of Quran and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is. I think that is deplorable what they did to you. But for the past 100 years, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, which is the leading reformist group on the globe today, it's established in 206 countries, we have said that the apostasy laws are not in the Quran, that we prove it theologically. That's a longer conversation. The blasphemy laws are not in the Quran. But the
reality is that life under Sharia in many countries, that those that convert from Islam to another religion are viewed as apostates, and the penalty for apostatism is death, is it not?
That's what my point is, that that's a political definition that is not in Islam, and similar things have happened with other faiths in the past as well. But what we are trying to say here is a community that lives Quran, not just reads it. All those verses from Tawbah and Al-Baqarah, the second chapter, I've rebutted them multiple times. You can go into them. They are specific to a certain time frame with a lot of qualifiers. They are not, and that is the reason why you find the oldest churches and the largest Muslim Christian minorities in Middle East. Because Islam always believed in protecting the churches. It believed in protecting the minorities. Otherwise, Muslims have ruled that area for 1,000 years. They would have demolished everything. And here's my last point on the comment, that in the 7th century, Daniel, Prophet Muhammad, interestingly, he wrote a letter to the Egyptian monks back then, making sure that their judges will not be removed, giving them the guarantee that they will not be forced to convert, that their daughters will not be forced to marry Muslims. This is the true Islam. and you being a judge and being removed because you converted, I think that is deplorable. What President Obama said, I'm not going to get into the politics, but I believe what he said, that we are going to elevate and legitimize the cause of the extremists, because let me tell you the spin they give it, Sean, in the Eastern or the Middle Eastern world. They're going to say this is a Christian crusade against Islam. And no matter how we know that's not what it is.
Well, I'm running out of time. But every time there's an incident, be it in Paris or wherever it happens to take place, what do we hear the words? Allahu Akbar, 9/11, the 9/11 hijackers, Allahu Akbar, Fort Hood, Allahu Akbar, Charlie Hebdo, Allahu Akbar. You know, you look at the burning of the Jordanian pilot or the killing of the Christians.
Sean,
you know,
that's the point. That's why we need to come together. As there is a 99% of swing vote of Muslims in the middle, we need to partner with them, because these wars are ideological wars. People like me, the people like communities like Ahmadiyya Muslim community, who's led by a Khalifa today. Daniel mentioned the fourth Khalifa of Islam. Our Khalifa has clearly said that there should be separation of church and state. You need to embolden those voices.
But there's virtual silence. 21 Christians beheaded, and you don't hear an outcry from the Muslim community. I
disagree with that, Sean, because I believe the more time you give me, I will be.
The more time you give me, I mean, I'm telling you, as somebody that absorbs news on a regular basis at a very high level, I don't see the outcry from the Muslim community, for example. And there are also questions about the Prophet himself. How old was the Prophet's wives?
Well, this is what I was going to say. I will put it on air for everyone to know. Anytime you want us, a member of Ahmadiyya Muslim community will come and denounce it, and will explain these things.
Okay,
as well.
but Fahim, you are different. I'm saying that you're willing to come on this program. Others are not. Many others are not.
Sean,
but there are questions about the Prophet himself. Is there not?
And we need to join together to give a united front to those extremists, the Christians and Jews and Muslims. We are Abrahamic cousins, Sean.
What about take neither Christians nor Jews for your friends? What about that verse?
Well, again, that does not mean what it's portrayed.
It doesn't mean what it says? So
absolutely it does not. Because that's what I'm saying. You're reading the Quran, I'm living it, Sean. There's a difference there.
Daniel, who interprets that? If it says don't be friends with Christians or Jews, who's reading it correctly?
Sir, I respect Fahim as a gentleman, but I have to say I'm so sorry. Baha'is and Ahmadiyyas are not considered as Muslims. Their religion is not Islam. Their interpretation is nice and great and helps humanity, but that's not what Islam teaches. What Islam teaches is obvious. Surah 5, Ayah 54 is the exact ayah for apostasy and for child marriage that Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6-year-old. Muhammad is Uswat al-Hasanah, is the great example that people have to follow him. What this gentleman says, it's all about Ahmadiyya, not about the religion of Islam.
But Daniel, the Quran is different.
All right, I'll tell you what, we're just out of time. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll invite these guys back tomorrow, and we'll continue this discussion about the literal interpretation of the Quran and what it says. And you guys feel free to bring all the quotes with you that you think will back up your positions, okay?
Sure, fantastic.
All right, appreciate it. All right. Hey, listen, guys, it's tax season. We all know that. Now, you may think that your back tax issues under the radar. Well, maybe you haven't heard a word from anybody at the IRS. Sorry, that's not how it works. It's not good news. The only thing that means is your tax problem is growing and it's going to get worse. The IRS, they're still coming after you. When they get you, your tax problem is going to be exponentially worse. And that's why now is the time to call the experts at Tax Defense Partners. Now, if you owe back taxes, you know if you do. If you didn't file returns in years gone by, if you're not sure where you stand right now with the IRS, call my friends at Tax Defense Partners. Now, they're the original pioneers in this business. And this year, millions of people, guess what? You can't even get through to the IRS. Now, they have a quick reaction team at Tax Defense Partners. They can get through. They will get through, and let them work on your behalf. Call now, 800-499-7777. And Tax Defense Partners has a team of CPAs, tax attorneys, enrolled agents, paraprofessionals, all who have IRS negotiation skills and experience. They're the only firm I recommend to resolve any tax issue you may have. Call Tax Defense Partners. Get on their quick reaction team now. 800-499-7777. Call now. Tax Defense Partners. Don't go for imitators. 800-499-7777. All right, when we come back, we have a lot more ground we've got to cover. We're going to go to Syria. An American veteran, Christian, angry the administration's not fighting ISIS, has joined the Kurds in Syria, and he's on the ground. He'll join us next.
Bringing you the people who make the news. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Michael Brown, later this afternoon at 4 on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
At thestreetreview.com, we identify market trends, breakthrough companies, and the best stock investment opportunities that are ready to soar. We've just released our special technology report on Spryza, traded under the ticker SPRZ. Spryza has turned digital media upside down with a viral strategy attracting millions of users. It's innovative search and win technology, awards cash, free college tuition, and much more. Go to streetreview.com to get instant access to our exclusive report. Visit streetreview.com for our full disclaimer.
The smarter way to manage business expenses, presented by Concur.
After my conference, I checked out of the hotel and the bill was automatically added to my expense report. Then I hopped into a taxi. I snapped a photo of the receipt using Concur, and bam, there it was on my expense report. Then I used my corporate card to buy the client's lunch. Another charge added to my expense report.
Expense reports that write themselves. Just one of the many ways Concur helps manage your company's spend so you can focus on the big picture. Take a free test drive today at tryconcur.com.
Attention credit card customers who may have spent a little too much this holiday season putting them into credit card debt. Every 3 minutes, another person falls further into credit card debt, and many credit card companies have nearly doubled their minimum monthly payment. Now people can barely afford to keep up. But we have great news. Thanks to a powerful program, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. We are Credit Guard of America, a nationwide nonprofit helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments for 20 years. Call 800-688-4432. The call and information are free.
I cut my payment by over $600 and saved over $25,000 in interest.
We've helped over 300,000 people eliminate their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-688-4432 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-688-4432. That's 800-688-4432. Again, 800-688-4432.
The Troubleshooter.
Michael Brown for Superior Industries. Superior Industries specializes in custom-made triple-pane windows and the thickest insulated permanent siding for your house, and they've been doing it for the past 34 years. Superior Industries windows have the highest energy ratings available. You can use the energy savings from these windows every month to pay for them. Call Mike with Superior Industries today at 303-838-8116 and replace those home builder windows and siding with ones that are going to last forever. That's 303-838-8116.
If you live in Colorado, I know you've experienced sinking concrete. Brian here with Advanced Mudjacking. At home or work, trip hazards in the sidewalks, uneven slabs, bad drainage, big holes from the rabbits. We can fix it, and it lasts. Our process with sand and cement lifts, fills, and stabilizes inside concrete floors or around the house, at your business complex or townhome. Call Advanced Mudjacking at 303-424-9441 or shoot me a note, advancedmudjacking@yahoo.com. That's Advanced Mudjacking, 303-424-9441.
303-548-1414. 303-548-1414. If you have any kind of computer problems, that's the only number you'll ever need. Call PC Answers today at 303-548-1414.
A religion-free zone. I'm Todd Starnes with this Fox News and commentary next.
Do you want to learn how to steal customer credit card information from major retailers so you can buy anything you want?
Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barracuda's award-winning firewalls prevent hackers from taking your valuable data to the bank. Reclaim your network like 150,000 other businesses have. To learn more about protecting customer data and your reputation, visit barracuda.com/firewalls.
If your church rents out a schoolhouse for Sunday worship, you need to pay close attention. The Supreme Court has rejected an appeal to overturn New York City's ban on weekend church services at public schools. The Bronx Household of Faith had been in a long-running feud with the Department of Education. The city says they have a constitutional right to ban churches. The court decision raises an interesting question. If schools can rent their facilities to other groups, why can't they rent them to religious groups? I mean, money's money, right? Some interesting news for chocolate lovers. Butterfingers and Baby Ruth bars are getting a healthier makeover. The company announcing they will remove artificial flavors and food coloring from all of its candy. Well, I suppose that's okay, so long as they don't remove the chocolate. I'm Todd Starnes.
This is the only place for Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station. For Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
All right, when we come back, we're going to go straight to Syria, where we have an American Christian that is fighting with the Kurds in Syria against ISIS. We get a first-hand account of the brutality of ISIS on the ground. Hannity tonight, the president insults Jews, attacks Christians, defends Muslims at all costs. Remember the Paris attack? Well, that's random. National prayer breakfast, president can't wait to insult Christians. Beheading of 21 Coptic Christians? No, don't mention that they're Christian. What is going on? Even liberals are criticizing him. Tonight, we got a hit from Ed Henry at the White House. Rudy Giuliani at a private dinner. I don't believe the president loves America. Ted Cruz says the president's an apologist for radical Islamic terrorists. We'll check in with Mark Levin tonight and much, much more. 10 Eastern tonight on Hannity on the Fox News Channel.
Blue skies, lots of sunshine for the afternoon drive, and we're getting busier out across these highways. Accidents out along C-470 westbound past University. That crash is gone. Pretty slow from I-25 out to University. Off toward Aurora, problem with the medical assist eastbound I-70 near Chambers. Left lane of I-70 blocked near Chambers, backing up there. Westbound I-70 already jamming. Havana to York, and westbound 270 slow getting up to Vasquez. I-25 looking better through the Tech Center. Had a problem northbound at Orchard. That is gone. Denver's forecast, partly cloudy tonight, low around 29. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high of 51, and snow showers coming our way Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 60 degrees. I'm Susan Phelan.
This is a perfect microcosm of the liberal left. You say something they disagree with, and what do? They don't respond. They shut you down and censor you. On a Facebook page about inclusiveness.
Mandy Connell, mornings 5 to 10.
How is that not the greatest thing in the world?
Attention men, an important message from New Male Medical. Do you have a resolution to lose weight and be more fit? Did you know low testosterone has many non-sexual symptoms? Increased body fat, decreased energy, reduced muscle mass, and depression. Roughly 40% of men with high blood pressure and 40% of men with high cholesterol have low testosterone. On top of that, there are dreaded sexual symptoms. Sometimes you need to solve a problem you didn't know you had before you're able to achieve the fitness and weight loss you seek. New Male Medical is a local medical practice right here in Greenwood Village and experts in men's sexual health. They treat the whole you, not by prescribing a little blue pill, but by finding the root cause of your issue and finding a solution. Call New Male Medical Center at 303-622-5251 today to schedule your no-obligation appointment. Join the thousands of patients no longer aging prematurely because they had the courage to call. 303-622-5251, 622-5251. New Male Medical, NUMALE.com. New Male, the experts in men's sexual health.
Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, and even replacement windows and doors, you have our word we'll treat you right at Done Right. Hi, I'm Todd Cicchini. You know, my dad started making that pledge on the radio when I was no more than 12 years old. He's taught me all my working life that what we do is not rocket science. Our success simply comes from treating people as we'd like to be treated.
And this is Dan Cicchini. Todd's totally correct. We know that you want a quality job at a fair price. You want good service and timeliness of completion. You want honesty. You want to feel comfortable. And you simply want to be treated well. That's what I'd want too.
And Dad, I know that's why we've done our best over the years to make their wants our objective.
You bet, Todd. So, folks, if you're ready, we're ready to serve you. Whether it's a fresh new look in your kitchen or bath, or the warmth and quiet of Anderson Replacement Windows, call us. 303-722-2295, 800-362-8370, or see us at DunRightKitchens.com.
Hey, Denver, it's Glenn back to tell you why renting with Renters Warehouse can be much better than selling your house. I've met with these guys personally, and I love their no-strings-attached approach to helping everyday homeowners rent and manage their homes. They help homeowners, just like me or just like you, keep our property while earning cash flow, equity, and tax savings, all while having tenants pay your mortgage. Let the pros at Renters Warehouse find you tenants in just weeks on average with their certified tenant match and warranty program. If a tenant doesn't work out for any reason, they'll replace them for free for up to 18 months. That's twice the guarantee than normal. And forget about the 3 a.m. phone calls of the leaky pipes. The professional landlords offer 24/7 property management for a low monthly flat fee, so you don't have to deal with the nonsense. No upfront fees, no binding contracts, and you can cancel anytime. Go to renterswarehouse.com or call 303-600-8383 for a free rental price analysis today. renterswarehouse.com.
Everyone needs a will. Don't let others make your choices. Most need just a simple will. Others have more complicated finances and need trusts. Let attorney David S. Salisbury do your estate planning and take the worry out of your future. Experienced, compassionate, and efficient. Free consultations always. David S. Salisbury, 720-493-3911. Elder law, wills, trusts, probate, estate planning. David S. Salisbury, 720-493-3911.
Hi, I'm Sam Jackson. Cancer will strike more than 175,000 kids worldwide this year alone. This includes infants, children, teens, and young adults. The likelihood that teens and young adults will survive cancer is far greater when treated by pediatric oncologists. Survival can depend on treatment from experts in childhood cancer and a commitment to collaborative, groundbreaking research. To learn more, go to stbaldrick's.org or standuptocancer.org.
You've got a voice. Use it to talk to us. Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
This is what's right with America. You're listening to the Sean Hannity Show.
25 till the top of the hour. Write down our toll-free telephone number. We'll get to some of your calls this half hour. It's 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program. I'm very honored in this job. I get to meet some wonderful people. One of them joins us on our Newsmaker line. His name is Jordan Mattson. He's an American veteran and a Christian who's so angry that Obama is not standing up to ISIS. I love Charles Barkley's remarks. I wish Obama was as tough as King Abdullah, the point I've been making. Or General al-Sisi of Egypt. You know, they kill Coptic Christians. They unleash holy hell. Both of them, Jordan and Egypt. What do? Well, the president goes golfing after he talks about the beheading death of James Foley. Unimaginable. Anyway, Jordan Mattson is so inspired that, you know, America has an obligation to be in this fight as a Christian, that he sees the Yazidis and the Christians are being beheaded and murdered. And now we know that organs are being harvested by ISIS. We know that women are being sold into slavery. Of course, women 1 to 9, the most expensive. About 3 times, 4 times the cost of a woman that is between 40 and 50. And I went through the price of the sale of women yesterday on the program. Anyway, Jordan Mattson is in Syria right now. He's fighting with the Kurds in an effort to defeat ISIS. There might be a slight delay in our conversation, so I'm going to try and ask short questions and let him talk. Jordan, welcome back to the program, and tell me what you have seen since you have been on the ground fighting with the Kurds against ISIS.
As always, Sean, it's an honor to be able to talk to you and bring light to the situation going on over here. Since I came over here, I came into the Jezza region. I got hit my second day here, so coming right over, I got right on the front line, and we took contact. They attacked the Christian police station down the road, and then flanked us, and we got in a 6-hour firefight. But after that night and spending 2 weeks in the hospital, I returned back to the front line, had a few more engagements in the Jezza region in northeastern Syria, then transferred to Shangal once we were allowed to break open the corridor and actually break the encirclement on Shangal, because people on that mountaintop were starving for they had been encircled for at least a month or two. And a week before that, we got to break the encirclement, at least 7 kids died of starvation. So it was getting to the point that either it was now or never that the mountain was going to cave. So they organized the airstrikes, and YPG or the YPG and Peshmerga made the push, and we broke the corridor open and retook Shangal and secured it. And now we're pushed down to Shangal City, hopefully to take that back soon.
Let me ask you 2 questions.
Since then, I was fighting in Shangal. Another American was hit, and I've been in the rear with him for about a week. He's going back to get well, and so I'm returning back to the front line now, or I should say tomorrow.
I want to ask you, 1, why you decided to go there and fight, and specifically, and number 2, tell us what you have seen, because we now have reports, and you're on the ground in Syria with the Kurds, about harvesting organs, other beheadings that we've not heard about in the press, selling women into slavery. Tell us what you've seen yourself.
Well, like I said, the big reason I came over here is because President Obama, as he said over a year ago, this was an Iraqi problem. As ISIS grew and they took down Mosul, they spread their influence across Europe, Africa, Asia, getting recruits, building up little communities, and now places like Lebanon and Libya, where they're trying to make offshoots of the organization to increase their funding and recruitment. This problem's only going to exponentiate itself and get worse the longer we put off destroying their logistics. So knowing that and watching them behead and kill so many Christians and Yazidis who just wanted to live in peace, and these are the same people that stood by our side for 10 years while we were in Iraq. You know, they put a lot on the line standing by us, and now he's turning his back on them after 10 years. So it's not something I could do. And I couldn't watch Iraq turn into a second Vietnam because of politics. I've only seen a few beheaded bodies myself, but other than that, it's just been a lot of fighting. But I've seen all different nationalities of ISIS down here, especially a lot of Chinese in my area.
Explain.
As for
go ahead.
Organ harvesting, I haven't witnessed any of that yet, but that's what I'm hearing in the news.
Beheadings, slavery, women being sold into slavery?
Yeah. There's so many Yazidi families that have just been destroyed. I've just been talking to another man who's in the Yebeshe Yazidi resistance on the mountain, that he had a family of 37, and now they're all dead or have been sold into slavery, and he's the last man in his entire family, out of his extended family. It just blows my mind that, just like with Boko Haram, we're just allowing this to happen and doing nothing about it. It's something that I just can't sit and do nothing about.
A big debate here, Jordan, in this country right now is about the president. He refuses to identify ISIS, even the Islamic State, as Islamic, or even mention radical Islam. What is your answer and reaction to that?
Well, these people are fighting for fundamental ideology. It's been happening for years all over the entire world. It's not just one organization that happened once. It's been, as well as it's been happening for generations. So you can call a tomato something else, but it's still a tomato. I don't know what you want to call it, and just not say the names. I think you hit on the iceberg earlier when you said that he was so quick to quote Christianity and the Crusades, and everybody wants to make an excuse for other religions or ethnic groups or other reasons why different organizations did certain things as an excuse for why thousands of people are being genocided every year all across the entire world for one set of beliefs. So I really don't understand why you can't label it what it is.
My last question to you, and by the way, people have, you've been on TV, you're going to be back with us tomorrow night. I think you're on with my friend and colleague Greta tonight, and you'll be back with us tomorrow. People have been concerned that in fact, us putting you on somehow puts you in danger. You have assured us that in fact is not the case, otherwise we would never do that. But you are seeing a lot of, I mean, you've already been injured. You're out there fighting. You're engaging this ISIS enemy almost every day. I am worried and concerned about you. I wanted to get your thoughts on just how dangerous it is, and you obviously have to be aware of the risks you're taking, and tell us why it's so important to you.
Trust me, they already know me and several other Westerners in the region that we are in because we've been fighting them. In places like Shangal, where we're not allowed to advance because of political reasons, we're within 100 meters of each other, shooting at each other every single day. So they yell at us, we yell at them. So they know, but there's nothing they can really do about it. I'm surrounded with soldiers all the time. I'm in a fighting force. So if they want to come get me, they're going to have to come get me and all my friends, and we're going to take as many of them with us as we can. I'm not really too worried about it because I got a bunch of good friends around me. So I'm pretty well taken care of.
All right, Jordan, we're going to check in with you regularly, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night on Hannity, and you'll be on with my friend Greta tonight. Thank you so much for your time, and for those that don't know, we use an undisclosed location for any correspondence of any kind, and we do our part, and Jordan is fully briefed on all of that. Thank you, my friend, and stay safe, and God bless you.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, 800-941-SEAN, our toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of the program. All right, Leslie's in Chicago. Leslie, hi. You are on the Sean Hannity Show. Glad you called.
Yes. Hi, Sean. I wanted to let you know also that I'm a Coptic Christian, and I'd first like to say that as on behalf of the Coptic Christians all over the world, that our faith and convictions have only been strengthened by the martyrdom of the 21 Christians in Libya. Also, I want to say that there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There are only practicing and non-practicing Muslims. ISIS is not only Islamic, but it is as Islamic as you can get. You keep saying that Islam is being hijacked by these jihadists, but I submit to you that these jihadists are actually the most devout Muslims in the world. If the majority of Muslims are peace-loving, it is only because they choose to ignore their holy books. And, when you keep saying that Islam is being hijacked by the jihadists, I feel like it's just political correctness, and we need to stop with the political correctness.
Well, don't talk to the president, because there's nobody that has been more tough on the issue of radical Islamists and the danger that it poses to the world than me. And I have no problem identifying those verses in the Quran that they use to justify their madness. Now, there are people that are Muslim that don't agree with the fundamentalist radical interpretation. And what I'm saying to them is take your religion back from those that that are perverting it. And I'm saying that the risk and the numbers are far bigger than anybody in the rest of the media is willing to say. And I'm willing to examine, and I have examined both on radio and TV, those verses in the Quran, the Hadith, that go into great detail about what they are using to justify their actions. All right? So
I agree with what I applaud you for being the most.
Go look at my Twitter timeline if you don't think I'm willing to take on radical Islamists. Okay?
But what I'm saying, it's not an interpretation. It is, the text is what it is.
I'm agreeing with you. I am saying, though, there are people that don't take that literal interpretation. There are people that we've had on this program that condemn radical Islamists that are Muslim. But I am saying that their numbers are large, and the percentage, I find the silence deafening from those that do oppose it. They're either afraid that they're going to be labeled an apostate and then apostatism will equal death, or number two, they're in silent agreement with it. They may not do the killing, but they're not angry that it's happening. So, but believe me, I'm doing everything I can do to make people aware of what we're dealing with, the enemy that we're dealing with here. And I have no problems whatsoever identifying Islamo-fascists, the modern-day Nazis for who they are, the people that behead, the people that rape, the people that enslave women, the people that are now harvesting organs and burning people alive, and decapitating people and raping people and pillaging is the way they are, and declaring war with the rest of the free world. I get it. I've been talking about it, and we'll continue to talk about it. Richard in Raleigh, North Carolina, on the Sean Hannity Show. Hi.
Hi, Sean. I hope you're doing well today. Thanks for having me on.
I have not been able to shake seeing that video from the weekend. It's now Thursday, and the images of 21 people, Christians, being slaughtered is still in my head. I can't get it out of my head.
Not mine either. It's horrific. And that sort of leads into what I wanted to talk about was Harf and her State Department debacle. Any economic aid to ISIS would be used exactly like Hamas used the economic aid they received. Instead of using the cement they were given to build hospitals, schools, housing, they built terror tunnels. They used the financial aid to build rockets to attack Israel with. Aid is not the answer. ISIS' Achilles heel, from what I've read, is the fact they have a de facto state. Al-Baghdadi can claim to be caliph mainly because he controls territory and his quasi-government attempts to supply food, fuel, water, power, etc. to the people he has under his domination in his de facto state. And because he can claim to be caliph, Muslims who, like ISIS, believe in this ultra-pure 7th century Islam are obligated to give him obedience. It's the reason thousands flock to his banner. If you destroy al-Baghdadi's quasi-state like we destroyed Nazi Germany, you break their will to resist.
That's the naivete. I mean, if you go back to the Allied powers, we can't defeat them by killing them. Yeah, we can. We actually can. And if you start nuking the hell out of areas or using whatever means are necessary, you're going to win the war. The problem is this president never believed in the war, doesn't believe in fighting radical Islamists, and can't even identify radical Islamists. So that's the big problem. You can't identify the enemy's there, and the enemy's causing you problems. Anyway, good call, appreciate it. There is a caliphate. It's an enemy. All right, 800-941-SEAN, our toll-free number. All right, a former nursing home worker was sentenced to 5 years on probation. Guess what? She pled guilty to an identity fraud scheme. This is coming now. It's a daily occurrence everywhere. She admitted she had provided stolen patient identity information, names, birth dates, social security numbers to another woman. Well, then false tax returns were filed using the nursing home residents' names, tax refunds deposited into prepaid debit cards. That's identity theft. These thieves are shrewd, they're smart, and they want to ruin your reputation, your good name, and take all your money, even your bank records, everything about us connected, stored on a cloud. Now, that's why you need LifeLock Ultimate Plus, because one hack, one breach, those thieves have everything they need to take over your life. LifeLock Ultimate Plus, the most comprehensive identity theft protection available. It'll protect your good name, your identity, your credit, your bank, retirement accounts, credit cards, even the equity in your home. Don't risk it. Get LifeLock Ultimate Plus. Go to LifeLock.com/Hannity now. If you use my last name, you save 10% on your LifeLock Ultimate Plus membership. Or you can call toll free. It's 800-440-4836. Call now. You need this. 800-440-4836. 800-440-4836. Protecting your good name, your finances at LifeLock.com. We'll continue.
Over $16 trillion in debt, and the Obama administration doesn't think we have a spending problem.
I want to disagree with those who say we have a spending problem.
It is almost a false argument to say we have a spending problem.
The country has a paying for problem. We haven't paid for what we bought.
Here's a simple solution.
Spending.
Spending! This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Mandy Connell, tomorrow morning at 5 on Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
Is it time to own your own business? Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care, is ranked in the top 10 franchises in America. Visiting Angels franchises are affordable and send experienced caregivers to provide non-medical assistance to adults so they can avoid moving to a nursing home. You'll receive the best training and unsurpassed ongoing guidance. Thousands of home care client leads are distributed to franchisees. For information on available territories, go to visitingangelsfranchises.com. That's visitingangelsfranchises.com.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. The Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Hi, it's
Mandy Connell for Icon LASIK. I wore glasses for years and was told repeatedly I wasn't a good candidate for LASIK. Luckily for me, Icon LASIK offers more than LASIK, and they fixed my eyesight and helped me ditch my glasses. They've done over 150,000 eye surgeries. The personalized care is outstanding, and they even have financing options available. Vision correction starts at only $4.99, so give them a call today, 720-524-1001, or find them online at iconlasik.com.
Hi, I'm Linda Gardner, host of Your Money, Your Retirement. Planning for retirement can be a real challenge. Will your money last? How should you invest? When should you start Social Security? I'll cover all this and more at the upcoming Baby Boomer Retirement Course. 2 workshops right in the Tech Center beginning March 4th. Register at richnessoflife.org/Regis. That's richnessoflife.org/REGIS, or call 855-703-7654.
Michael Brown for Superior Industries. Superior Industries specializes in custom-made triple-pane windows and the thickest insulated permanent siding for your house, and they've been doing it for the past 34 years. Superior Industries windows have the highest energy ratings available. You can use the energy savings from these windows every month to pay for them. Call Mike with Superior Industries today at 303-838-8116 and replace those home builder windows and siding with ones that are going to last forever. That's 303-838-8116.
Do you want to lose 20 to 45 pounds in 40 days? No exercise, cravings, hunger, drugs, or hormones? This brand new technology is guaranteed. Most weight loss professionals tell you not to step on the scale. Trust us. Well, Dr. Cadwell says,
I want you to get on the scale every day. I want you to see just how this revolutionary technology is working for you. Here's what I say to new patients. How would you like to look in the mirror just 40 short days from now and see the person looking back is 20 to 45 pounds lighter?
This technology raises your metabolism, targets your belly, butt, hips, and thighs, and it's doctor supervised.
I've seen people lose 45 or more pounds in just 40 days. If you're diabetic, you need this. If you have low energy, you really need this. I'm Dr. Cadwell. Take a look at my free video. You're going to learn so much. Go to 411getthin.com and click on the free video. That's 411getthin.com.
After watching the video, call Dr. Cadwell at 844-411-THIN. 844-411-THIN.
We've got the 411 on getting you thin.
Hi, Jim Gravina with Gravina's Window Center in Littleton. The home improvement season is upon us. So much research to do, so many products to debate, and numerous companies to consider.
That's right, Dad. That's why Gravina's Window Center in Littleton will keep it short and simple. 1, we represent the industry's finest window manufacturers, such as Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows, 8 times stronger than vinyl and with a lifetime warranty. 2, we won't let just anyone come into your home. Our in-house installation crews are the best in the business, certified by Installation Masters USA, and have the craftsmanship to transform your house into the home you deserve. 3, we take pride in the products we represent and ensure our customers' satisfaction throughout the project.
Make life simple. Visit our showroom off Littleton Boulevard and Broadway, online at windowsforyourhome.com, or call 303-794-0490. 303-794-0490. And remember, Gravina's is yours for your windows and doors.
You negotiated a deal, you wanted the difference back, and he said no. But we got on the case.
When you need help,
yes,
you need the troubleshooter.
He had a few choice words to say to me, and I cashed a $700 check for him yesterday.
So it pays to listen to the troubleshooter.
Yes, it does.
Troubleshooter Tom Martino, mornings at 10.
We recover millions of dollars every single year.
On Talk Radio 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station. Got a problem? Find an answer with the troubleshooter, Tom Martino, mornings at 10.
Now.
Be smarter. Listen to Tom Martino, because the troubleshooter's on your side. Mornings at 10.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for today. President, insults Jewish people. He's at war with Netanyahu, attacks Christians in the name of Jesus.